happened?
I don't know.
Allah ate it. Allah ate it.
Because he was too stupid.
Excuses.
Thousands. Who ate the apple? What happened?
I don't know.
Who ate the whole apple? What happened?
I don't know.
Allah ate it. Allah ate it.
Because he was too stupid.
Excuses.
Thousands. Who ate the apple? What happened?
I don't know.
Who ate the whole apple? What happened?
I don't know.
Allah ate it. Allah ate it.
Because he was too stupid.
Excuses.
Thousands. Who ate the apple? What happened?
All right. We are live. Welcome back to Reasoned Answers, your home for the
crackhead clown individuals.
Today we're going to be talking about Ali Dawah. You may have seen the thumbnail, a tribute to the great commentary channel Pegasus here. As he likes to say, it's a meme to say it's over, but sometimes it actually is over. And I think that you'll see that Ali Dawah has definitely done some serious damage to his credibility, some serious damage to his career. He and Muhammad Hijab thought it was over in a different way. They thought that they had escaped accountability for Hijab's actions. Ali Dawah, even as you'll see in the video that we're reviewing today, he even sent a message to Behind Veils asking him why he was hiding, why Salman was hiding from Ali Dawah. He wasn't hiding. He was strategizing. He was preparing. He was working. And he's back with a new video calling out Ali Dawah.
Now, what he's supposed to do? The
first of multiple videos, apparently.
What he's supposed to do is go, "Ah, me strong, me strong, me strong," according to Ali Dawah. So if you don't do that, then you're hiding. He's such like a barbarian. He's such a barbarian.
Yeah, because there wasn't an instantaneous response to the revelation that Sheikh Tarani, or Muhammad Tarani, I guess he's not technically really a sheikh, but they call him Sheikh Tarani, had also been accused of sexual abuse. It seems to be a problem within the Islamic community, the Dawa community, that they're all getting accused of sexually abusing or harassing at least women, and thus they thought that they had like this magic bullet, that they had destroyed all the allegations against Hijab, because you see someone else was also potentially guilty. And he's like, why are you hiding now that we destroyed Tarani? And of course wasn't hiding. As I already said, he was strategizing, back with a new 35-minute long video even, going into great detail about all of the mistakes that Ali Dawah made in his video, and dropping some serious allegations while not actually doing so, as he says, because he's copying Ali Dawah, who says, "Yeah, you know, I'm just saying something. I'm not making an accusation against you." In any case, quite clearly dropped some very serious allegations, which I imagine will be explored in more detail in the next video by Behind Veils. We'll get to those in a little bit. Welcome back, everyone. I'm glad you're here. Took a couple days off. I was planning on streaming over the weekend, but my wife was sick, so I decided to take a couple days off. Was also working on some very important non-live stream content. I don't want to say scripted, because it wasn't technically scripted, but working on some important non-live stream content, which I was planning on releasing today, but for strategic reasons that has been postponed. You'll see that in probably about a week or so, but that's all I can say at this time, because I have very specific reasons for not releasing it, which means I also can't tell you what it is. But I have been working, definitely stuff coming up. I think we're going to be having the opportunity to talk a lot about Ali Dawah in the coming days and weeks, which will then bring back up Muhammad Hijab and his abuse as well. Welcome, Mary. How are you? How have you been enjoying the downfall, you could say, of our most important Christian apologist, Ali Dawah, who is so profoundly stupid he actually is helpful to Christianity.
I am just shocked by him. I am shocked by him, and how can you have confidence when you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about? There's nothing happening in your brain except me strong, me good, me right, me powerful, me powerful. Like, he has no argument. He doesn't understand the words that that are coming out of his mouth in the order that they come out don't make any sense. Like, the man obviously doesn't know what blackmail is and yet makes a video on it. The man obviously doesn't know what the Trinity is, but seeks to like criticize it. I criticize the Islamic view of God because I know what it is. How can you criticize something you don't know what it is? But this seems to be like a pattern in Islam, that you try to be as ignorant as possible and then project yourself as knowledgeable as possible. It's shocking, just shocking.
Indeed, it seems that almost you have more, the dumber you are, the more benefit you have, the better dawah you give by being completely ignorant, I guess. Something along those lines. And the cats are very active here, jumping in and out of my lap at the moment, jumping in and off my table. So cat cams are on the move, you could say. All right. With all that said, let me start with a super chat.
TikTok time to rock.
There you go. Time to rock, says the ape apologist. Thank you very much, Jack Ray. He also triggered the apple. Thousands of apples. Heretic Purger said WTF. I think for the intro, perhaps you haven't seen the intro there. Perhaps you don't know about the channel memes, but the apples and the channel intro and maybe a super chat video we'll get to see later are all related to one another. All right. I think with all that said, it's time to dive into this. So we'll get right to this video. A link to the original video is in the video description. This was released on Behind Veils Sunday, if I remember correctly. It might have been Monday morning. It was either like Sunday evening or Monday morning, I forget. But new video here, which is called Ali Dawah Playing Dumb or Playing the Ummah. I think it should be Ali Dawah Playing Dumb or Just Dumb, personally.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's actually the answer. I really think, I don't think that Muhammad Hijab was blackmailing Ali Dawah because I don't think he needed to. I think what he was doing was just telling him he should do something and then saying some words behind it that sound like an argument. And Ali Dawah just did, because as intellectually insufficient as Muhammad Hijab is compared to him, compared to Ali Dawah, he is a super genius. He is an international super genius. So I think that he just manipulates him because he's so slow.
Mm-hmm. We got Ali Dimwit in the chat here. I love to shock. Look, I'm called Ali Dimwit for a reason, infidels. Well, that's one of your names.
Mind blown. I'm Ali Needs Dawa.
And there's another one for you. Ali Needs Dawa, as he's known by Muslims. What is that camera setup? What do you mean? What is that camera setup?
The cat
I
or
don't know.
Ali Dawah's or whose?
Yeah, I don't know if this is a real question, but I have 3 cameras. I have 2, one on me and 2 potentially on different cat setups. So if that was a real question, that's your answer.
At some point, I will get a second camera that can actually be pointed at the dog. Previously, my phone could be put really close to the dog and still plugged in, but now I've rearranged everything, so I can't. He's still here. He is currently passed out on the floor, but I can't show him.
Ali gets dumber every day. Yeah, maybe he was a reasonably average intelligent individual and then came to convert to Islam, as he calls it. Yeah, I would say, accept his Islamic background, but came to convert to Islam. And then it just has slowly degraded his intelligence day by day. It's a possibility, I would say.
That would be a major debuff for sure, for that to be able to account for it. It's bad. It's bad. Yeah, I've listened to Ali Dawah some before, but recently I've really come to grips with how much he just doesn't understand what words mean.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, when you watch these videos, whether it's Ali Dawah or Muhammad Hijab for that matter, the illusion of them being intelligent is quickly blown as soon as they try to use words they don't understand. As long as you actually know what those words mean, you're like, what did he just say? Anyway, let's get into this video here.
There's a point when silence becomes complicity, and there's a point when deflection becomes deception. Today, I'm responding to a person who has built his entire defense around diversions, deflections, and both spiritual and emotional theatrics, none other than Ali Dawah. Just a month back, Ali published another video trying to shoot back against damning revelations in the Muhammad Hijab case. One may have been led into believing he had a legit explanation for everything that was revealed, and that somehow I had engaged in taking a false oath and twisting the story. But today, we peel back another layer of Ali Dawah's theatrics and his usage of smoke and mirrors, while continuing in his relentless path of diversion, deflection, and deception. Soon after the
a good introduction there. That is definitely the kinds of tactics we've seen from not Muhammad Hijab AI narrator and from Ali Dawah. I will say that I'm not really sure how much Ali is deflecting and how much he is just actually completely clueless. Hijab told him what to say and he said it. Muhammad Hijab said jump and he said, yes, sir, how high should I jump? And so he just said a bunch of stupid words. Maybe he didn't actually know what he was doing.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit more than that. I think it was, hey, Ali Dawah, you should do this for this reason. And he just said some words and he's like, oh, okay, and just did.
Uh-huh.
He's easily manipulated. This is just, I mean, why would you stick your neck out for him otherwise? And I really don't think that he was exposed at all or blackmailed at all. I really think that he stuck his neck out because he got convinced to do it.
That is definitely a possibility. Ali lack of power to yeah, that could be that could be. I don't know if it counts as defending the guy or not, but I mean, I just want to be honest and say that he might not actually be as evil and deceptive as it appears, because he might actually just be so stupid that he doesn't understand what he's doing. All right, let's
that is my working theory at the moment. It really is.
Let's get into the details.
Video was published highlighting how Sheikh Torana was blackmailed by Hijab. The comments began flooding not just our own channel, but also on Ali Dawah's. Being in panic mode, he quickly began deleting many comments while also responding to some. Soon behind the veils is going to need veils. Just give us a few days and everything is going to make perfect sense, alhamdulillah. Don't worry, we was just waiting for Salman to come up with this allegations. The final nail in the coffin coming very soon.
He slips very slightly into an imitating Ali Dawah accent. And I just
He was
lose it.
just waiting.
Every time I hear it. Every time I hear it. Oh, poor Ali
Yeah,
Dawah.
like I
He doesn't
mean,
know any
unlike us,
language.
he's not mocking Ali Dawah. He's
No,
not
he's
being,
not.
but he accidentally kind of slips into his manner of talking.
Don't worry, we were just waiting for someone. We was with his. He
We
does
was
it.
just waiting
He
till
just
our
does not-
secret second wives.
Yeah, I know. Right? He's just like not. He's not fluent in any language. It's amazing. So.
My 10th wife mustn't see this.
And I am really, really wondering why it is that Ali Dawah is so obsessed with single mothers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is interesting because most Muslims, especially someone in, I mean, let's be honest, a position of power like Ali Dawah, they would be not interested in a woman who has been previously married. But Ali Dawah says his preference is for single mothers with up to 2 children. Interesting. And that's what he ended up marrying. He married a woman with 2 children, I believe. At least for his first wife.
Isn't she from America?
I'm not sure.
I thought she was Somali descent from America. He has some sort of hang up with Somali women, too. All right.
You guys find out why our ex-teacher was really in hospital and why we really distanced ourselves from him. Salman jaw's going to drop.
He actually read it the way he wrote it. Really distant ourselves. Instead of distance.
And Salman jaw's going to drop. Not Salman's jaw. Salman jaws. So like I said, fluent in no languages.
Let's see if he says of here. Salman is about to fall off his seat.
Man is about to fall off his seat.
Oh, I corrected that one.
The truth will leave you gobsmacked. But it didn't stop there. Just a few days ago, Ali Dawah sent me a direct message on WhatsApp. Salamu alaikum, Salman. You've gone quiet all of a sudden. Will you be investigating the allegations and evidences against Taurana? I thought you would defend his name at any cost. I told you, you've made your whole dunya. May Allah heal you so you rid yourself of his rage and fake piousness.
Okay, whose rage would he be rid of?
Well, I mean, it says his. That must be Allah's, right?
Rage?
Allah's
Does
rage.
he have Allah's rage?
And Allah's fake piousness.
And Allah's fake piousness? I'm very confused. Like I said, he is fluent in 0 languages. So, Salman, you've gone quite all of a sudden because our friend Ali Dawah cannot spell the word quiet.
Yeah, he
So
read
when you
that
be
correctly.
investigating the allegations and evidences against Taurana, why would he? Doesn't need to. I thought you would defend his name at any cost, why would you think that? Is it just because your parents were cousins and their parents were cousins and everybody's parents were cousins? Why would you think that he would defend his name at every cost?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make any sense whatsoever?
That is interesting, though, because Ali Dawah revealed what they were kind of expecting, right? So in Ali Dawah's video, he says that they've sent the evidences and allegations against Taurana to Behind Veils, and now Behind Veils is going to have to do a video about it, and he's trapped. Well, one, he could just do a video about it, right? He could talk about the sexual misconduct of Taurana. Why? I don't see why that would undermine him in any way. But Ali Dawah says, I thought you would defend his name at any cost. So what they actually expected is him to turn into a massive hypocrite and say, like, when Taurana did it, it was no big deal.
Right. I mean, like, why would you think that? Just because he listened to him and brought forward the allegation that he was blackmailed? Like, what sense does that make? And I like that. So someone said, Kalarpim said, Allah, the least pious. Nice. Just casual blasphemy from Ali Dawah here. And then, oh, I told you, you've made your whole dunya. So, what does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with his ex-wife Dunya? Why would he say that? This is just like, I have seen 5-year-olds make more coherent arguments back and forth than this. This is just, I'm going to say some things that are just offensive because I'm stupid and I don't know what to say. So he's just like randomly insulting him incoherently and blaspheming Allah. So
yeah, I
there
mean,
we go.
the only reference for his is Allah. So
Right.
Solomon needs to rid himself of Allah's rage and Allah's fake piousness.
Yep, Allah's got so much fake piousness. There we
go. But also, I just noticed he stutters here, even in text. I told you, you've made your whole dunya.
Why stuttering?
That's good. That's good. 3 years in a row. I told you, you've made your whole dunya. I really think, I absolutely am convinced that, I mean, I made a joke about her name being Dunya before, about that being kind of a horrible name for a daughter. For this to be, here and now, present place, whatever. But I really think that this came from Muhammad Hijab. Muhammad Hijab made this crack once, and Ali was like, oh, that's so smart. I will repeat it all the time, even when it makes absolutely no sense. What does this have to do with his fake wife? How many videos has someone put out about his ex-wife? Like, has he ever said anything in like the past year about her? No. So who is it who is obsessed with Dunya? Oh, that would be Ali Dawah and Muhammad Hijab.
Yeah, and someone's actually going to explain this in a bit. He's going to say that the cover-up for his ex-wife made him aware of the Dawa gang mentality. But since that time, it hasn't been about her in any way. But I was laughing hysterically at Aaron here. The channel description says the videos are about Christianity. Can anyone recommend a channel where they discuss Christianity? A very genuine comment, I'm sure, from him. If you scroll down like half an inch, you'll see like the first one, because it's the most recently published video, is like criticism Islam. But then you scroll down like 1 or 2 inches, and you'll see Christian apologetics. You'll see church history. You'll see theology. Various different playlists. Some of my content is critical of Islam. Others is about promoting Christianity, and some of it's comparing and contrasting the two religions. I know that you're terrified that we're talking about Islam and we're talking about Ali Dawah, because Ali Dawah is, after all, a very great Christian apologist, because he leads so many people out of Islam with his stupidity. But too bad. We're going to talk about Islam today. That said, Aaron, I would be happy to recommend you many great channels that have only Christian content, if that's what you're actually interested in. But I need you to say, I am not a Muslim. I curse Allah. I curse Muhammad. And I want to learn about Christianity. And then I'll give you some videos about some channels about Christianity. Probably 95% of Christian channels never mention it. Probably 99, actually. Probably 99% of Christian channels never mention Islam. Yet somehow you can't seem to find one. I wonder why. Anyway, back to the video.
I swear upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Uqsum billah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala curse me if I have ever blackmailed Muhammad Tarani. Wallahi, billahi, uqsum billah. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to deal with me if I blackmailed or I was involved in something to hush him or something he knew.
Salman and Sheikh Torana never said you blackmailed him. He said Hijab did.
I have an opportunity, a obligation to clear my name. I've never blackmailed him.
Let's make something absolutely clear.
Salman actually doesn't comment, but that's my favorite part where he accidentally says he saw the opportunity. I mean, obligation. Revealing what the video is all about. We saw an opportunity to use something for our benefit. I mean, obligation to reveal these things about Tarane.
No one said you blackmailed Sheikh Torana. Cut out the sobbing theatrics as if all of a sudden you're the victim. We said Muhammad Hijab is the one who blackmailed him. And guess who confirmed that?
Unfortunately, this brother Muhammad Hijab, he started blackmailing me.
So Ali, all your oaths, your drama, your whining, all deflection. You're pretending to be the accused, all in an effort to draw sympathy and distract the public, when you were never even the target. Or maybe it's just your guilty conscience that kicked in, especially with you knowing that Muhammad Hijab was going to start exposing Sheikh Torana.
Brother Ali Dawah was going to expose things about me.
I'm sure the claim is Hijab blackmailed him and not you. The claim is that you knew that Hijab has done this and you're playing cover-up. Honestly, why is everyone
really
so
quickly.
dumb? The whole...
Why is everyone so dumb? I know, right? That is really the question. I think that Ali Dawah can't really tell the difference between him and Hijab. Hijab's like, they're accusing us of doing this. And getting him to defend it. I think it really is an issue of him being that easy to manipulate. I've always thought of him as this like tiny little monkey next to the ape Muhammad Hijab, even though apparently he's quite tall. He just mentally to me is like this little monkey, who like the wind-up monkeys, because of the way he acts. He is just like his pet, his toy, his running dog. It's astonishing how incredibly easy it is for him to be manipulated by Muhammad Hijab. Because Muhammad Hijab won't speak about any of this as himself because he knows he will lie. And he doesn't want to say things that tons of people know are a lie. So he's getting other people to lie for him. And so he's getting Ali Dawah to be like, I never blackmailed him. No one ever said that.
I swear by Allah, my name is Ali Dawah. Yeah, brilliant activity here by Ali Dawah. He has totally destroyed all the arguments by swearing that he has never blackmailed. Totally the case here. But this, I assume Muslim, right? They're like, why is everyone so dumb? Indeed. Cargo Crew says, what is he on about now? So I think you just tuned in. We're looking at the latest video from Behind Veils, responding to the previous video of Ali Dawah saying that Sheikh Tarane is actually the real bad guy here. He is a sexual predator or whatever. While also saying it's nothing serious. Like he's trying to imply that this guy is like a total creep, but also keeps saying there's nothing serious in the allegations. So he can't even keep his own story straight. But in any case, there's some sort of allegations against Tarane. And now that somehow proves that Hijab didn't do what he's been accused of or something. It was a good amount of time in between that video and the response, and you'll see why later. Let's just say that Salman had to do some research and confirm some stuff before coming public. Because unlike Ali Dawah and Muhammad Hijab, he doesn't just throw things out there. He makes sure they're actually true before he says them.
Video is saying Ali never blackmailed Muhammad Torana. Fine, but the actual accusation was not that Ali Dawah blackmailed Muhammad Torana. It was that Muhammad Hijab did. Subhanallah, how is everyone so stupid? So Ali can make 1,000 oaths and yeah, it's true, because he was not involved in that particular issue. But the whole premise wasn't that he did. The whole thing was that it was Muhammad Hijab did, not Ali. It's a sad state of affairs for the Ummah that these online guys are now just the new celebrities that the poor, uneducated Ummah look up to. It's really just the Muslim version of reality TV shows, where the celebrities benefit by being popular and make money while the masses get dumber and waste their time. Hadi is also a master of taking one point and making a 30-minute video about it whilst conveniently disregarding everything else. That's not a W.
I'm going to have to disagree there. He's definitely not a master at making videos. You know, if this is sarcastic and say he spends 30 minutes on what should be a 2-minute video, then sure. But if you're like saying master at, you know, drawing it out and making the video really entertaining, but not really saying anything. No, his videos are terrible. He just meanders and babbles and goes on and on. It's almost like it's one of my live streams or something, except it's a recorded, edited video, and it's still that bad.
Why did Salman find the need to twist the story and release audio recordings, which I have messages, which we're going to hear recordings right now, of Mohammed Taraweh claiming that Salman took an oath by Allah that he's not recording him?
Let me make it absolutely clear. I never took any oath with respect to this. Not once. In fact, I take an oath by Allah right now that I never took such an oath. And I'll attribute Sheikh Torana's mention of it to a lapse in memory. Nothing more.
So that was the one thing that Ali thought he had, right? That, you know, he gave an oath that he wouldn't release it, or that he wasn't recording it, but he actually was secretly recording it. Now, we discussed at the time, and he'll say this later, that, well, you know, what was the timing of that? Or was he even he just says he, Tarani just says he. So was it even about Salman? We don't know for sure, but let's assume it was about Salman. But then what's the timing of it? Well, he's going to explain that he didn't record the first call. He said he wasn't recording it. Technicality, he didn't swear an oath, but he was also being honest. He wasn't recording that. But then he recorded the later conversations, and he's going to say for Tarane's own protection, which turned out to be true, right? It's a real good thing that he had those recordings, because he had them. He was able to, you know, defend Tarane and say that he wasn't just, you know, making this up, or he wasn't being careless. He was being Tarane, I mean, being careless. He was being really careful in his things, and he felt that he had to do this, and so on and so forth. Because, ironically, even though Ali Dawah is going to say that Salman threw Tarani under the bus, it was in fact Hijab and Ali Dawah that threw him under the bus. And then Salman uses videos that he's recorded, those phone calls he's recorded later, after the one that he said he wasn't recording, to defend him.
Yeah, and let me be honest. If someone said, I'm not recording this discussion, I would assume that that means that I don't have to ask them each time that they're not recording it if I don't want them to. So in that sense, I would not be thrilled if I found out later that someone decided to start recording things and it's technically true. They technically aren't lying because they weren't recording the first one. So in that one thing, I'm like, yeah, you should have been honest when you changed from recording to not recording, because you were recording without his knowledge after having said that you weren't recording, without being clear that that's only a promise for this one.
Yeah, that's correct. I think he does even explicitly say that he was recording them in secret, which I would agree that if you previously said you're not recording something, then there's certainly an expectation that that's true on later calls as well. Geometry Cube said, moral of the story, screenshot everything. That's one of the things that we've definitely learned through this whole saga, is that none of the Dawa boys trust each other. They're all constantly collecting evidence against one another, because they know that at any time they could be stabbed in the back by someone else. So for their own protection, they're all constantly recording each other and keeping screenshots and saving emails and whatever else they need to do to, even if they're not like pure evil like hijab and collecting information to blackmail people, they're at least collecting information to protect themselves in the event that they're accused of doing something. Very interesting religion that it produces this kind of mentality among its promoters, right? That its promoters don't feel they can trust other promoters. I personally, I would certainly trust my friends who I've worked with before, because that's what we're really talking about here, right? They're talking about people you've worked with and in theory trust. But I would even just trust a random Christian pastor or speaker or whatever. If I was talking to him for the first time and a subject came up that I didn't want public knowledge, I would trust that if I said, this is secret between you and I, or this isn't public knowledge or something along this matter, that they wouldn't go around disclosing it to other people. I'm not saying like I'd necessarily tell my deepest, darkest secrets to someone I just met, but I would certainly trust them for the kinds of stuff that we'd be talking about. Weird, right? Weird that they can't even trust their own friends, and I would just trust a random Christian preacher until I had reason to do otherwise. Huh. Difference between the religions, I guess.
Yeah, really is.
What Ali Dawah fails to mention, because he didn't do his investigative research properly, is that I had multiple conversations with Sheikh Torana spanning across multiple weeks. Did you catch that, Ali? Multiple conversations. If you're having a hard time comprehending that, let me provide some visual assets to help reinforce and infuse that into your comprehension. Allow me to
now he's using words that are too big. That's, I mean, some of them are not quite used correctly, but still, like that's not going to be helpful for poor Ali Dawah. We need
Ali Dawah
words.
watches the video later.
Small words. Like, pictures are going to help, but small words for Ali Dawah, or else he will be lost.
He'll either be like, Muhammad Hijab, can you help me understand what he's saying here? Or he'll ask his wife, can you write on your whiteboard what he's talking about in little words so I can understand?
Conversations and text message exchanges with Sheikh Torana spanning multiple weeks. Not once, not twice, not thrice, not 4 times, not 5, but a total of 6 different conversations, hours and...
Look, a minimum of 33 minutes up to an hour and 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours-ish that he spent interviewing Tarane, and Ali Dawah was like, oh, it's just one phone call.
Hours of discussing the case regarding Muhammad Hijab and Sister Aisha. Yes, in our first conversation, I told him I was not recording when he specifically asked me about it. That was long before I saw how deeply distressed he had become, especially with him being blackmailed by Muhammad Hijab. It was only after seeing how he was being pressured, manipulated, coerced, and deteriorating emotionally and physically that I began recording. Not to harm him, but to protect him, to protect the sister, and to protect the truth.
And I think he should have said, I'm going to record this call. I think that is definitely something he should have done. But I also think that would have been a reasonable request, right? And probably would have been honored and say, like, I need this for the records. I believe you can trust me not to release it. He should have told him. And I think he probably would have been granted permission. Who really backstabbed Sheikh Tarane? Let's find out.
Not only did Salman backstab Tarane, he threw him under the bus.
I got to point that out again. Does it mean the same thing? Not only did I eat food, I also ate a sandwich.
I know.
Fully delusional and a master of gaslighting while trying to speak with so much conviction and putting on full display your performative piety.
I don't think
backstabbing Sheikh Torana.
I don't think it was a masterclass in anything. I really
Yeah, for real.
It was bad. Yeah, the only people it impressed were the people who will be impressed by gorillas beating their chests and monkeys hooting. Like it
Well,
had as much content as that as far as an argument went.
As someone pointed out, even people on Ali Dawah's channel are generally not impressed. I mean, I'm sure that there's some people who gave positive comments and said you've destroyed Salman or whatever, but there was plenty of comments that he read, among others, and they had multiple upvotes. It's not like it was just one random person. So a lot of Muslims watched that and had the same impression that it was just an incoherent rant by someone with no actual evidence for, I would say, his position, but really for hijab, right? Because that is the case. And No Name says, I just joined. Lily Dawa got a secret wife. Allegedly. But we're going to get to that in like minute 25 or so of the 35-minute video.
And throwing him under the bus. But it wasn't me who backstabbed him, was it? It was you that went on a tirade elaborating on allegations and investigations about him. The same man you and Hijab tried to use as evidence, but then quickly turned against him when his testimony backfired and no longer served your purpose. Ali, let me remind you of the message you sent me shortly after the video featuring Torana's testimonies. I was waiting for you to finally release this video. Now the whole world is going to know some pretty damning stuff about Mohammed Torana.
that threat there is kind of pathetic, right? Oh, I was waiting until you released it, and now I'm going to destroy you by destroying Torana, who we cited as support.
Right. Well, here's the thing. So imagine, like, it's so direct that it's hard to even make a parallel, right? Torana was being blackmailed by Hijab. Either you refuse to support Aisha, or else we will get some women to accuse you, basically. We're going to get some women to publicly accuse you, some women that we know about, if you don't back off from admitting that you know the witnesses to the marriage. So what do they do when audio clips that show that he knew about the witnesses to the marriage come out? Ali releases this video, which publicizes what? The women accusing him.
Yeah, they followed through the blackmail, in other words.
Like, that is part of the blackmail. Is Ali Dawah's video. Ali Dawa was played a role in the blackmail, not through the threat, but in doing the thing that he was blackmailing Torana, about. Like, they're blackmailing him about this, and he is the vessel through which Muhammad Hijab made public the information that he threatened to make public. You can't go, I'm not blackmailing you because here's the public information that we have indeed known all along, that we are now making public, that we threaten to make public if your evidence that you knew about the witnesses comes out, and the evidence that you knew about the witnesses came out. He is a direct participant in the blackmail. He didn't threaten the blackmail, but right there, that video is him fulfilling the condition of the blackmail while going, how could we be blackmailing? Because here is the thing being exposed that was threatened to be exposed. Like, it left me speechless with how stupid it was. And I really think that maybe Ali Dawah didn't understand what blackmail is or what he was doing, because he was so incoherent and his argument was so stupid that I really think that he actually is that stupid. However dumb you think he is, he's dumber. He's going to be one of those guys who goes to prison and they'll be like, how can you punish this poor boy with an IQ of 69? That's literally what's going to happen to him. He doesn't know any better because he's too low IQ. Like, there will be people standing up for him.
Good point. Good point. He's got a built-in defense there for sure. Just to set the timeline straight here, which I think is very important because, and you know, all this accusation of throwing Tarani under the bus. So Salman posts the original video outlining the accusations against Hijab. And he says he talked to a sheikh. He talked to an eyewitness, something along those lines, but doesn't give any names. And then suddenly, in not Muhammad Hijab's video, Sheikh Tarane's voice is there, denying that, well, not exactly denying. He was supposed to deny it, but he kind of gave a vague statement saying he didn't really know one way or another. But he gave a vague statement under blackmail, under pressure. He gave a vague statement saying, and only Allah really knows what happened. Leave me out of it, basically. After Sheikh Tarane is given by name, then in the next Behind Veils video, is about how Sheikh Tarane is being misrepresented and misused. Then later on, there's a video published about Sheikh Tarane being blackmailed by Muhammad Hijab, the conclusion of the original series of videos. And then Ali Dawah does the video with all the accusations against him, which is, of course, the material he was being blackmailed with. So actually just confirming that he was blackmailed. and he keeps saying, like, oh, we couldn't have blackmailed him because these accusations existed ahead of time. Yet that's what blackmail is. I mean, effective blackmail anyway, is something true about a person that they don't want to be revealed. And thus you say, I will reveal this true thing. If you just make something up, it's not very effective blackmail.
It's not blackmail. It's just lying about someone. And I really think that Ali Dawah thinks that blackmail is lying about people. I think that that's it. I think that he really thinks that the definition of blackmail means making up lies.
Yeah, I think that might be the case. He certainly doesn't seem to know what it means. So Cargo Crew said Ali Dawah and Hijab, these people have a very valuable fan base, customer data. These guys are big time gullible customers. Yeah, all the crypto scammers out there who are listening, figure out how to bribe Ali Dawah or Muhammad Hijab into promoting your scam coin, because their audiences, they will 100% buy it up. And then
there's a disproportionate number of Muslims who are involved in every single crypto scam, both in the taking and in the getting scam portion. It's sort of like Mormons and MLM. And I really think that it points back to the religion and what it teaches. The uncritical trust in figures that seem authoritative in Islam and in Mormonism. Mormonism redefines faith as like this fuzzy hope for whatever, and if you have it, you get what you want. That's basically it. So you should have this fuzzy hope that you'll be rich and join the MLM and get absolutely hosed and give money to people on the top, versus, this person is speaking with authority and with knowledge. He's a person of knowledge. I shall give him money. And in Islam, it's kind of interesting what scams people are disproportionately likely to fall prey of.
Yeah, so to finish the thought there, and then after you've scammed the audience, they'll all be too timid and too afraid to question authority to admit they were scammed. So they'll just be like, yeah, we got exactly what we were promised, and there'll be no consequences. So perfect audience for all those crypto scammers out there.
Mormons are so huge on MLMs that some people say that MLM actually stands for Mormons losing money. A huge number of MLMs are actually started by Mormons. Look at where they're based. Some ridiculous percentage of them are based out of Utah.
And Rory here says, let's pray for Aisha. Absolutely. I definitely endorse that, and I pray for her on a regular basis. And I would encourage other people to join in with that as well. Mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again since it came up. She is currently has a GoFundMe to raise funds to sue Hijab in secular court and civil court because the Sharia court is not going to give her any justice. So I encourage people to support that as well. You'll have to look at my previous video to get the link if you're interested, or my community post. Just go to my community post. It's like the second most recent one.
Oh, and MLM means multi-level marketing. So things like Cincy and Young Living and It Works and the absolutely hideous clothes that were really popular, LuLaRoe, whatever it was called recently. So yeah, it's multi-level marketing, and they get most of their, like 98% of people whose money are break-even. Yeah,
there are some, somewhat legitimate products, but
well, I mean, the products themselves are not necessarily horrible.
Yeah,
like
some of them aren't horrible. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But more or less, it's just a legalized pyramid scheme that you get money by recruiting other people to sell the product, and you're required to buy a certain amount of it, or commit to selling, but effectively buy a certain amount of it per month. So then you get other people in your downline and you get money off them. Actual selling to end consumers who just want one of the product, not very common. Yeah, basically a pyramid scheme, but legal because there's actually a product behind it. Whereas a strictly speaking, a pyramid scheme, there's no product behind it. It's just, hey, recruit someone to give you $10 and and then get them to recruit someone to give them $10 and so on and so forth.
What an embarrassment. You accuse Salman of throwing Torana under the bus and proceed to literally do the same thing. This is school playground drama. The fact that you aired the sheikh's dirty laundry only proves he was being blackmailed.
Let me tell you, brothers and sisters, because
there was another comment below that one, which he doesn't read, but boycott Ali liar who swears on Allah 1,000 times a day while lying. His own audience is not buying this very much, right? I'm sure there are people who buy it, but a large percentage of his own audience are like, this whole situation is pathetic. This is terrible. Why are you doing this? So even among his own audience, he's struggling to convince anyone. Hence why the title of the video, right? It's over for Ali Dawah.
The fact that you aired the sheikh's dirty laundry only proves he was being blackmailed.
Let me tell you, brothers and sisters, because Mohammed Tarani knew there's an investigation going on before Salman's videos. So we could not orchestrate this. We can't have 10 plus people coming forward of harassment. Organizations I can't name for legal reasons.
You used him when it benefited you, then threw him to the wolves. I, on the other hand, protected his name, praised his integrity, despite him being blackmailed. I gave him my word that I would defend him and that I would defend the truth. I'm very disheartened.
Okay, this isn't directly related, but we got Tommy, the famous Muslim here. He always responds with bad words. I think he means me, I'm not sure. But he has nothing but lies and insults. I mean, this could be Ali Dawah, I don't know. Jesus will punch you in the face when you insult with lies. Well, first of all, no, Jesus doesn't punch people in the face. Nor can you say that because you don't think that he has eternal life, right? You don't think that he is immortal, but so you think that he's just you sort of think he's not
he
dead,
thinks that he's like going to come back and
come back and punch us in the face.
So yeah, here's the thing.
Look, my friend, your credibility is in the bin now.
Lords, and he will send you to hellfire. So he is.
Yeah, he won't punch you in the face, but he will send you to hell.
Yeah, he will send you to hell. So, and for using his name like that, your hell will be worse. So I recommend that you stop. Blasphemy is not well appreciated.
Yeah, and I don't know what you mean by, I assume that he is me, so I'm not really quite sure what you mean by bad words exactly.
I think he actually thinks that I'm a man too, because he is not, English is not.
Well, regardless of who he thinks he's talking about, those comments that were being read in this video, that wasn't me speaking, that was Muslim speaking about Ali Dawah.
Well, I think he's just crying about being blocked last time because he refused to participate or listen and would not answer my question. So I told him that he had to sit in timeout for the rest of the stream. So now he's still got his nose out of joint because of that. So maybe this time, Tommy,
maybe he'll
you
be on
should
topic.
try to pay attention.
Okay,
So,
this is the level of maturity here. So send me to hell, ha ha. He suffers from urinating in the presence of the Jews.
oh,
So
let
apparently,
me tell you the story of urination.
hold on. You
Okay.
you can tell the story here in a second. But apparently, according to Tommy, using the bathroom means you're suffering. So Tommy suffers in the presence of kafirs. I assume he's in the West. Maybe not. Maybe he's in a Muslim country. Then he suffers in the presence of Muslims every time he goes to the bathroom. Great logic. Now, let's hear about Muhammad's urination problems, Mary.
So Muhammad was tricked by Jews into thinking that he will be tortured in hellfire, or tortured in the grave, tortured in the grave for getting pee on his clothing. Most likely they found out that he had hypospadias, which is a condition where the urethra does not open at the end of his penis, but rather part way down, which would explain the fact that he was sterile and never actually fathered any child because his ejaculation did not go in the correct place. And so whenever they found out that when you have this condition, when you pee, instead of being able to pee like most men and it actually going in a straight line toward whatever you're aiming at, it kind of sprays everywhere messily. And so to make fun of him and to worry him and scare him, a Jewish woman arranged a conversation with other Jews talking about the terribleness of getting urine in the wrong place and how that will cause you to be tortured in the grave, the torment of the grave. Most of it is from getting urine on you. And so Muhammad, after that point, would squat to pee like a woman because he was so scared of getting urine on himself and being tortured in the grave until the resurrection because of that. He bought it. He believed it. He told Muslims. And to this day, Muslims think that one of Allah's preoccupations, the main thing, most of the punishment that people get in the grave, more than half, is because they get a little bit of pee on themselves or on their clothes.
Mm-hmm.
That is the level of intelligence of the dude that you think is a prophet. That is how easily he fell for really stupid things. And that, again, is evidence that he was a regular person, because no intelligent, educated human being would make up something that stupid and attribute it to their prophet.
Mm-hmm. So, Tommy, I hope you learned a lesson here. Every time you try to insult, it's just going to come right back on your prophet.
He just backfired on you.
And according to your prophet, if you cause insult to come upon him or cause insult to come upon Allah, then you are morally responsible for it and you will be punished for it. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind before you continue. I'm happy. I am perfectly happy to insult your prophet, insult your God.
Wants some more. He wants some more. So he's calling me very dirty names and says that I think that he's a person who does not understand how pronouns work in English. So he says all his, meaning my, words is focus on sex. So Christianity is the best place for you. No, it's Islam that constantly talks about sex. Incessantly about sex. All it is about sex. Your prophet thinks that the best place that a man could be is in a place where his penis stays erect for the rest of his life or for the rest of his existence eternally. Your penis will be sticking out and waving around as you go to the market, and your penis is going to be sticking out in front of you underneath your clothes. It'll never fall. And then you'll go and buy some stuff. Oh, you'll see an image at a market, and you'll be able to go into it, which basically means that you'll be able to take whatever beautiful picture it is and have intercourse with whatever's in the picture. Then you'll come home and you'll have sex for years and years and years with your wives. Tommy, you live and participate in the religion of sex. It is obsessed with sex, has always been about sex. Everything's about sex because it was what the people that Muhammad needed to keep happy were filthy desert bandit rapists. And he needed to keep them happy with the promise of all the sex they'll have in Jannah. And he had to keep them happy by telling them that they can do prostitution and they'll just call it marriage as long as they pay the girl what they owe him, what they owe her. That is your religion. Everything's about sex. I'm baffled that you would dare to come to me and go, oh, you're obsessed with sex, whenever the only reason a huge number of men even look forward to paradise is that they are thinking of all the sex they're going to have with the females and the little boys and everything else. They're like, oh, sex, I need to blow myself up so I can get the sex faster. I can hardly stand to live right now without having all that sex that I promised. That's all the religion is. It's a religion for perverts. Desert perverts.
Very true, unfortunately. So, Tommy, when you come back from timeout, hopefully you've learned your lesson and we don't have to insult your prophet anymore. But if you want us to, we'd be happy to. Trust me, we know your sources very well. Every attempt to insult us will just lead to us talking about something that Muhammad actually believed in.
And when you come back, you need to agree that you are looking forward to walking around with an erection in Jannah, or else I'm just going to throw you out completely.
I do have some bad news for you, Tommy, though. I imagine that you're probably a normal man. I'm being very kind here, and you'll see why in a second. But I'm assuming that you're probably a normal man, and the reason you're looking forward to Jannah is that you think that you'll be getting big-breasted, well-developed, curvy women. But in fact, the Arabic says that the Houris, the special creations of Allah, have budding breasts. That is, breasts just starting to develop. Yes, your prophet thought that the best thing he could promise you in paradise is to have little girls barely reaching adolescence for all eternity. So that is
9 to 11.
That is what your prophet thought the ideal woman was, and that's what he promised you in Jannah. So sorry to break your heart, but when you go to Jannah, which is actually hell, you won't be getting the virgins you expect. You'll be getting a different kind of virgin, except you won't actually be getting that either, because you will be in torment because you are in hell. That's what Jannah is. Just thought I'd clarify. Just thought I would clarify there for you. As Salman here says on screen, I'm very disheartened just hearing this. And I hope Tommy is very disheartened just hearing this. And wises up when he returns from timeout. We'll see.
And just hearing this. But as I said, subhanAllah, please let me know anything that's happening and I will do my utmost any way that I can to ensure that I defend you and defend the truth, inshallah.
You see, that you defend me, but may Allah will bless you.
You see, I actually gave him my word that I would defend him for speaking the truth. Unlike you, Ali, who actually attacked him for speaking the truth, all after using him and playing multiple voice notes from him in an effort to support your narrative. But then, all of a sudden, when he was no longer an asset to Team Hijab, you had to, quote, free yourself from him.
If this harassment's the truth, that's the 4th time it's happened. I have to free myself from him.
absolute.
Except, when was that accusation made? According to Ali Dawah, February. So why is he freeing himself in May? Why is he freeing himself in mid-May? Seems that wasn't why he freed himself and came out with this video after all.
Convenient timing. Use him when he benefits you and discard him when he doesn't. You know, that tactic sounds rather familiar, maybe a bit like Hijab's deceptive marriage to Sister Aisha. Use them when they're of benefit and discard them when they become a liability.
And lastly, the reason I'm doing this video is to free myself of Mohammed Tarawih.
If your teacher is not a sheikh and you want to free yourself from him, then why in your earlier videos were you using him as a source to defend hijab earlier in the scandal?
Even the Muslims get it, right? They brought him into it. They used him as a source. They used him for defense. And then, but we knew that he was accused of these things back in February, and we stopped talking to him and we disavowed him. And then we used him as a source. Got a voice note from him after the accusations, by the way. You know, it was like March-ish that they got the voice note. Blackmail. Interesting. Now we're going to get the timeline exposed here.
I'm going to reveal to you guys why Mohammed Tarawih really ended up in hospital and how everything is going to make perfect sense. Not only that, it's going to leave Salman in a big dilemma.
Big dilemma. I'm still failing to comprehend what this so-called big dilemma is that you believe I would find myself in. I literally laid out exactly what you were going to do.
I want to know what this big dilemma is too. Like for it to be a dilemma, like either option would have to suck. In fact, both options are perfectly fine, right? Exposing Tarawih and saying that he's a creep, or not commenting on it, or saying that he's an honorable person who may have done some bad things. All those are perfectly acceptable options. So where's the dilemma exactly?
I don't think he understands the word dilemma either.
Let me tell you, brothers and sisters, because Mohammed Tarawih knew there's an investigation going on before Salman's videos. So we could not orchestrate this. The video that was released by Salman was on the 6th of April. The investigation that started by two sisters, not by myself, not by Mohammed Hijab, two sisters came forward and an investigation happened. And this is my message. You can see the date, 11 February to Sheikh Mohammed. I'm with my wife, Sheikh, I can't talk as it's a private matter and now involves allegations about you. And now the organization is being brought into this.
You said he ended up in the hospital due to allegations that go back many years. Strange, because February 11th, the day you claim you messaged him about these investigations, is the exact same day he called me in distress, reading out Hijab's blackmailing messages. But you wanted to make it appear to the public that all this happened on or after April 6th, when we published the first video. And since you either have selective memory or manipulative storytelling tactics, maybe you should listen to exactly what Tarawih read to me on February 11th with regards to the threatening messages that Mohammed Hijab had sent him.
You shouldn't mean that a blackmail. Initially, he was saying, I will not do nothing. If you didn't stand against me, I will not do nothing. Just then after the patient, I have run out of patience, and I will be taking necessary steps by midnight tonight, all within bounds of Sharia and law. However, you have one final chance to set things up. By the midnight, you must do the following. Look at what he said. Send me a WhatsApp voice message acknowledging that you misrepresented the situation after hearing only one side, specifically the fabrication of evidence and testimonial or testimonies, and apologize for the harm caused. But then the next point is inform the reporters the truth, retract your statement, and provide me with a screenshot as a proof. If you fail to do both, I will proceed accordingly without further warning in full compliance with Sharia and law. Phase 1 of the consequence will be set into motion immediately after the
This was the blackmail message sent by Hijab back on February 11th.
I actually didn't notice this the first time I watched the video. That Ali Dawah's initial message just saying, like, I've become aware of some accusations was also on February 11th. So obviously what happened is Hijab figured out that there was a potential situation. Maybe Ali Dawah like didn't know about anything else and was only told by Hijab that allegations have been raised or whatever. But he was clearly setting in motion the blackmail threat. Ali says that these accusations came before, and apparently they did. I mean, presumably they did come before. You know, the women said something before, but apparently Hijab was sitting on it until exactly February 11th, exactly the day he contacts Tarane to blackmail him. In other words, there was no investigation into this until it became useful for Hijab to start one. Huh.
Almost like the only thing that he has absolutely no desire to have any kind of justice, but only to do what? To have power and control him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that wasn't all clear in Ali Dawah's video when these accusations were exactly raised. But now it seems to be the exact same day that Hijab sends the blackmail message. And again, I'm giving Ali Dawah credit here that he was simply manipulated and didn't actually know yet what Hijab was doing behind the scenes. But Hijab must have known about it beforehand. It's not like he found out on the exact same day, coincidentally, that some women had made accusations against Tarane. No, he clearly had been sitting on it for who knows how long. Ali Dawah implies that the accusations were made at the same time, and maybe that's what he believes. But I now think that he might have been sitting on these for 6 months, a year, who knows? He was sitting on it until it benefited him to use it. That is very, very interesting.
Stating he must acknowledge that he misrepresented the situation, retract the statement, and apologize. So what was the voice note Hijab played on his first response video? Let's have a listen.
However, upon closer examination of her baseless claims, and after being presented with the actual text messages highlighted in this video, Mr. Tarani came to a sobering realization. He had been deceived. Let us now listen to his own words and witness the moment this deception is laid bare.
I just want
Yeah, listen carefully, see if he actually denies anything.
to acknowledge that I was kind of misled. I should have paid attention to all the details before dealing with it. But anyway, at the end of the day, it is a mistake, which I wanted to apologize.
Well played.
So that's all I got out of him. I was kind of misled. I should have paid attention to the details. I apologize. Did he say that anything he said was a lie? Did he actually do what Hijab demanded he do?
No.
Not really. I guess his conscience wouldn't allow him to say a blatant lie. So he said something that, was probably technically true, right?
Mhm.
He didn't know all the details. He shouldn't have spoken before knowing all the details. Probably technically true. But is it a denial? It's not a denial in any way. And that's the best it could get under threat of blackmail.
Yep. Well, he didn't want to perjure himself because even Mohammed Hijab doesn't want to say an outright, clear, flagrant lie of that sort. He's trying to avoid it by getting other people to do his talking for him.
Well played. Mohammed Hijab, your thuggish blackmailing tactics almost worked. That is, until the truth was laid bare. And Ali, it's quite interesting how you make this whole emotional scene about not blackmailing Torana. You play another misleading voice note from him. But yet you consciously and strategically chose not to address all of the points Torana relayed about being blackmailed. What about the recording of Sheikh Torana directly saying that Mohammed Hijab blackmailed him and that the Sheikh says he is very ill because of it? And then you pretend this whole investigation started nearly 2 months before our first video, and that it had nothing to do with the release of the allegations against Muhammad Hijab.
And he thought this was because of the whole hijab situation. Brothers and sisters, the video was released on 6th of April. This investigation started, this complaints again came back on 11th of February. That's 2 months ago before any Salman video.
This is so funny because the idea is that the Salman video would need to happen before the blackmail.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? Of course it happened. Of course the blackmail happened before. How can you discuss it if the blackmail hasn't already happened? Like, how can you discuss blackmail in a video if it has not taken place yet?
Well, he means the first video. He means the first video, but still.
I don't think Ali Dawah, because the blackmail was part of the entire narrative from the beginning. It was always part of the narrative that this had already happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it wasn't, it wasn't super explicit at the start. Just that, it's kind of vague that a sheikh went to the hospital, kind of deal. And then it was made very explicit in the last episode exactly what had gone down.
Well, I mean,
but it was clearly part of the narrative, right? It's clearly part of the narrative already.
He kept it vague because he wasn't going to put the sheikh on the spot, right? So the one who exposed who the person was that this had happened to was Muhammad Hijab. But you can't say that all of this had happened if it hadn't happened yet.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
well, and he keeps saying the date the video is released.
What's happening in his brain right now? What is happening?
Well, I might have an explanation. So it was released April 6th. I'll just assume that's accurate.
Yeah.
He probably thinks that means it was like recorded April 4th and the investigation started April 3rd because that's how he would do things, right? He'd spend one day researching things, immediately make a video, and then release it right away. But of course, the actual investigation lasted for 8 months. So at any point in the 8 months before the video was released, Hijab could have gotten wind that someone was looking into his secret marriage, right? That they were looking into his activities. And as soon as he got wind of that, knowing that Tarani was aware of it, and he definitely knew that because Tarani is the one that arranged Aisha being interviewed by Ali Dawah as a way to mediate the situation with Muhammad Hijab. He arranged that Muhammad Hijab would apologize and that Ali Dawah would do the interview without naming him, and then she'd tell her story and it'd all be out there, and that would be the end of the situation. He arranged that deal, which Hijab then broke. So he could have started threatening him at any time, right? As soon as he learned that there was an investigation, he could have started saying, you know what, if you talk to anyone about this, then there's going to be consequences. So, I mean, what a ridiculous thing to say. Well, it couldn't have been in February.
He would want, I mean, that sheikh was one of the ones that she reached out to initially, early on, before Salman. And so the threats to shut him up, one would expect, like I thought that she had gone to the sheikh and then she was counting on him and then threats were issued to shut him up. So I didn't even realize that Salman was already investigating when these threats emerged initially, because that would also make sense. But she was actually kind of casting a wide net and trying to get anyone to listen at the same time. So it would not be a problem if he were shut up before Salman even began. It would make no sense for that to be even a talking point. It's so weird.
Mm-hmm. Now, Prophet Muhammad here says, why the woman so loud? Now, there's nothing actually wrong with Mary's volume, as other people confirm, but I figured this was probably a joke from the start. What he's saying is she should be silent. She shouldn't be saying anything. She should be using her whiteboard like a good woman.
Nice.
Let me take a super chat here. That one didn't generate for some reason. I had already noticed that, but I'll do it. Walking the meme streets of the internet. Thank you very much, Jack Ray, there for that donation. Back to the brilliant mind of Ali Dawah.
Once again, the message that Torana relayed to me about being blackmailed by hijab, that was on February 11th, the exact same day that you stated the investigation and the complaints against Torana originated.
Number two, he ended up in hospital because of, since 2019, of these alleged harassments going about him. There's an investigation going. That's why he ended up, because he realized multiple organizations are coming forth of complaints. And
he's been investigated since 2019, but he ended up in hospital the exact same day that Hijab sent him a blackmail message. They couldn't possibly be related, guys. The logic of Ali Dawah here. The logic of Ali
10
Dawah.
plus witnesses, and we've got text messages, all this kind of stuff. That's why, brothers and sisters, that's why he ended up in hospital.
Let's be absolutely clear. Sheikh Torana ended up in the hospital because of Muhammad Hijab, the very person who threatened him, blackmailed him, and then launched a smear campaign against him. Hijab is a thug cloaked in religiosity, and you, Ali Dawah, have done everything in your power to cover up for him, twisting timelines, warping facts, and performing digital gymnastics to confuse the ummah. But the deception ends here. Let's break this timeline down step by step and watch how your narrative, Ali, falls apart. On May 19th, Ali Dawah published a response video 2 weeks after a bombshell revelation of how Muhammad Hijab had begun blackmailing Sheikh Torana and everything that precipitated due to it. So Ali Dawah thought he was smart. He painted a timeline saying that the allegations against Torana originated on February 11th, almost 2 months prior to Behind Veils releasing the first video regarding Muhammad Hijab. So he tried to use this timeline to defend himself and Hijab, claiming that it had nothing to do with this case and that I had tried to conveniently associate the two. But here's the details Ali never thought would be revealed. January 31st, we first contacted Muhammad Hijab directly and privately. We raised the issues we had uncovered, but instead of addressing them sincerely, Hijab started playing games, evading questions, flipping narratives, and issuing veiled threats. It was at that point that we reached out to Sheikh Muhammad Torana. We needed to understand what had really happened, and over the course of the next few weeks, I had multiple conversations with the Sheikh. February 11th, this was the day things escalated. Hijab had come to know that we were speaking to Sheikh Torana, and that the truth was close to coming out. So what did he do? He launched a blackmail campaign. He sent threatening messages to Sheikh Torana, messages the Sheikh himself read to me over the phone in distress. Hijab gave him a midnight deadline, demanded that he retract his statements, issues an apology, and sends proof of it.
So I'm actually fairly convinced now, thinking about it, that Ali Dawah on February 11th, when he sent that message, actually just learned about it, right? It didn't know there was that blackmail situation going on. I think what happened is maybe on the 10th, maybe on the 11th, Hijab sends him a message saying, I got bad news for you. Our good friend Tarane has been accused of some serious allegations. There's going to be an investigation. It can come back against our Dawa organization, blah, 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 blah. Then Ali Dawah passes that on to Tarane, says, I can't talk to you because there's an investigation potentially. I think that he actually is a victim of sort, Ali Dawah, at this time at least. He now knows, and he's choosing to participate anyway. But at this time, I think that Hijab has actually tricked him, right? Actually tricked him into not understanding what's going on. And maybe in his tiny little mind, he still hasn't figured it out. I don't know. But I do think that on the 11th, he probably is not intentionally participating in blackmail.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. Oh, could you check the private message I sent you and reply privately on here, the chat? Okay, cool.
Consequences. This wasn't some vague exchange. It was direct, calculated intimidation. That is the real trigger that led to Sheikh Torana's health collapsing and ultimately being hospitalized. That same day, February 11th, Ali Dawah conveniently claims that this is the day allegations against the Sheikh surfaced from two sisters, and that somehow this justifies the collapse. But Ali never expected us to have evidence showing that on this exact same day, Sheikh Torana was being blackmailed, not by any sisters, but by Muhammad Hijab himself. So either, one, you're using that date to manufacture an alibi, or two, you were already informed of Hijab's blackmail and chose to use this investigation as a smokescreen to discredit the Sheikh in case he spoke up. February 12th, I continued my conversations with Sheikh Torana. He shared how Hijab was now going behind the scenes, contacting organizations and leaders, trying to destroy his credibility. He was clearly distressed, emotionally wrecked, and fearful of what was unfolding. So what did Ali try and do in his last video? A desperate attempt of damage control, laying the groundwork and preparing a script to confuse the timeline and discredit the Sheikh. So let's summarize. We contacted Muhammad Hijab on January 31st. Hijab begins blackmailing Sheikh Torana on February 11th. Sheikh Torana reads the blackmail messages to me on February 11th. Ali conveniently claims investigations began that same day. Then Sheikh Torana's health begins spiraling under pressure from Hijab's threats. And the following day, he is hospitalized. And now, after all of this, Ali, you want the world to believe that this was unrelated? That it all just happened to overlap? No, Ali, this wasn't a coincidence. It was a cover-up. You were and continue to be part of it.
I don't think that he's going to understand this. I just do not have hope that he has the ability to grasp this.
But Muhammad Hijab told me he didn't blackmail him, so I know he didn't do it. He said that we were telling the truth. You see, it can't be blackmail because that's what blackmail means, is lying about people.
Yeah, pretty much. Imagine having children with this man. Knowing. Oh. Oof. Oof.
James says, people, please believe me, I have a secret second wife and I hide her sometimes in my closet or under the bed. And this secret wife is Khomeini of Iran. Oh my goodness. Question from Roy here. Should we pray for Ali Dawah and Muhammad Hijab or to leave them in their filth? I mean, you should always pray for the lost. It probably isn't worth your time like trying to talk to them and convince them or something along those lines, right? They may be a lost cause and throwing your pearls before swine and all that, but it never hurts to pray for someone.
Was saying, firstly, where is your evidence? You have no evidence. Muhammad Tarana was not a witness for this so-called marriage, nothing.
Akhi, as I said to you, Wallahi, I was not involved in the nikah between Muhammad Hijab and the sister Bushra in any sort of form. I was not her wali. I was not a witness. I wasn't involved in that nikah.
Imagine someone lights a fire and then says, I never held a match. And it's true, they didn't. But they actually used a lighter. You see what's happening? They're technically telling the truth, but they're deceiving you by how they frame it.
That's a perfect analogy there. It's like someone saying, I didn't light a match when they used a lighter instead. Something that's technically true, but deception. Now, what Salman will tell you is that's actually the advice of the Sharia manuals, is that if you find yourself in a situation where the truth is against you, you should say something that's technically true, but which will deceive the audience into thinking what you want them to think, and that's acceptable. That's allowed. That's far better than just directly telling a lie. So that's what he probably doesn't know, and if he did know, he wouldn't tell you that this is the Islamically approved way of lying through technicality.
All they're doing is playing word games. That's exactly what Ali Dawah is doing here. He uses Sheikh Torana's statement, which denies formal involvement in the nikah, but hides the fact that Torana spoke to one of the witnesses.
He doesn't want to be known that he has done something wrong, as you know. So people didn't want to be known that they have done something wrong, meaning to be in a process of a nikah, which is in this way, it's wrong. He accepts that this is wrong.
Yes, Torana wasn't a witness, but he did testify that a witness confirmed the nikah. That's involvement. That's testimony. Don't let Ali Dawah's linguistic gymnastics fool you. That's not honesty. That's wordplay. That's deception.
When the marriage took place and divorce, and even literally they didn't stay for something, only for 1 month or something. And things didn't work between them. Even though, by the way, they sent her money as well. The witnesses, they said that one of them, he sent her money because there is marriage took place. And we cannot say that when he divorced her, that the divorce didn't take place because it is done properly. He divorced her according to what they have done. And as well, he gave her mahar, which is the dowry out of that.
So
there was an interesting statement in there that I don't remember if that whole clip was played or maybe just a shorter version of it, and that's the first time we heard that. But that one of the witnesses sent Aisha money. Apparently Hijab also gave her a mahar, but one of the witnesses sent her money. I would suggest probably actually from Hijab, probably as an attempt to bribe her, but possibly from them because they felt guilty about participating in it. Either way, someone sent her money either to buy her silence or because they felt bad for the situation and wanted to do what they could to help, which is very interesting. Right? And it's very interesting little tidbit there.
Well,
not what he's talking
also,
about, but I noticed it.
Also, there is a tradition to give wedding gifts. So
yeah,
they may have, you know, as a witness, felt that it was appropriate to do that.
Yeah, that could be too. It could just be a gift. It might not have been, you know, after things went sour. That's a possibility. But I mean, I think that his point is that, you know, like there's people who are actually involved, right? The witnesses are actually involved. They're not just dummies who jumped on a WhatsApp and call and said, check, we got people here, check. They actually acted as witnesses in some real sense, I think is probably what Tarane is trying to say.
What exactly are you denying, Ali? Stop being vague, deceptive, and evasive. If you believe everything that Torana stated was a lie, then why didn't you mention that in your video? And if that's the case, why do you keep using his voice notes as testimony even in your last video? Do you see the contradiction in your logic and your actions? Because everyone else clearly does. If Sheikh Torana says he spoke to a witness who confirmed the nikah took place, what does that have to do with anything with his own personal allegations that happened at different timings and are completely separate to the case?
Answer, of course, is nothing. We got Imam Shirazi here. Hi, what's the problem with having a second wife? Do you think that's the only thing involved here? I mean, we can dispute the legitimacy of polygamy, but let's not even worry about that. Do you think that's the only reason that people have a problem with this? Is because
I think that he hasn't been following it. So I let him in on the loop. I don't think he's been following it. I think he thought that that was the only reason.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm glad you're here then, if you're actually being informed. But Mary said she filled it in. I'll just be very brief. The Muhammad Hijab tricked Aisha into a secret marriage with reduced rights, changed the terms on her, made it, in his words, a sex-only marriage or a hotel marriage or a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. All he wanted was casual sex. In other words, he didn't want any kind of actual relationship. He refused to provide for her financially. She said, this is crap. He divorced her because she said, this is crap and I demand what you promised me. Then he spent 2 years trying to cover it up, trying to prevent anyone from ever finding out about this, including blackmailing Sheikh Tarane in the process. So a lot more going on than just polygamy. Just wanted to make sure that was clear.
Ali, you made a whole video accusing me of saying her testimony is her evidence.
Her testimony
is her evidence. Brother, her testimony is her evidence. Her testimony is her evidence. I'm just saying, her testimony is her evidence. Testimony is her evidence. Her testimony is her evidence. Her testimony is her evidence, Salman. I'm just saying her testimony is her evidence, yeah? Salman, we're just saying her testimony is her evidence. And look at what kind of an irresponsible man you are. Her testimony is her evidence. Backfiring on you. Her testimony is her evidence, and hope that you taste your own medicine. One of the claims that was made by Salman was what? Her testimony is her evidence.
And then in the last video, you actually read one of our posts from the Behind Veils channel.
Just to be clear, what is the claim of Ali Dawah? Her testimony is her evidence, meaning that that's what Behind Veils said. They don't actually, he's not going to actually read the original text message that it was about, but that was like one of 5 points, right? Testimony, the victim's testimony is a piece of evidence, and then he had 4 other pieces of evidence, but Ali Dawah wants you to say that that's the only thing that matters. And now he's going to get into this accusation about what this community post means.
It literally said, one of our team members made an innocent mistake.
But what did Salman do? Salman said, of course not. Do you know what he did, brothers and sisters? Let's read for ourselves. He made a mere simple post, not a video, a simple post saying the following: correction on a personal testimony as evidence in Islam. The clarification is important. One of our team members made an innocent mistake.
Did you hear that? One of our team members made an innocent mistake.
One of our team members made an innocent mistake.
I pointed that out when we went through the video of Ali Dawah as well, that he even reads it to one of the team members and then he attributes it to Salman saying something. But what they're actually talking about is what someone said in a YouTube comment in response to a Muslim. They slightly misstated the Islamic understanding of how evidence works. It had absolutely nothing to do with her testimony is her evidence thing that Ali Dawah claims it's about. And in fact, it couldn't, because this post was made before he made that video, actually. Someone doesn't say that, but I know it to be true. Before Ali Dawah released that video, this post already existed. So this post can't be a response to that video.
Instead of owning the truth, you doubled down on the lie. You didn't just misattribute a team member's comment to me. You used it to launch a 25-minute hit piece packed with slander about zina and physical abuse. But why would you go to such an extent to be so sloppy and reckless? Maybe because you and Hijab tried ringing up dunya, only to realize she had nothing of substance to arm you with. So what did you do as a desperate YouTube reality show creator?
I think that's correct, because actually in the original video, the original threat was that they were going to get Dunya to come and testify herself, right? That they're going to get her to testify against Salman. And then they end up just playing his own videos as their evidence against him, right? His own videos where he states what she previously said about him. And then they're like, see, we're airing all this dirty laundry because we're getting back at him. But they took it from his own videos, probably because they did try to contact Dunya. And she's like, yeah, either she said, I don't want to be involved, right? I don't want this associated, or she said, I realized I was in the wrong and I apologized. I mean, who knows what happened exactly, but I think they definitely intended to get her to make these accusations, and then she refused to for one reason or another.
You went scavenging, downloaded my first video, frantically scraped things from my website, snatched screenshots like a gossip blogger on a deadline, and somehow convinced yourself you were making a documentary. If this is the new standard for Dawa, then congratulations, Ali. You're not just a Dawa guy. You're now the editor-in-chief of the Modern Muslims Drama Digest tabloid. All headlines, no evidence. All clickbait, no substance.
I mean, that is what Ali Dawah's videos normally are. So it's not even much of a stretch, I must say.
All drama, no dignity.
Salman has had zina in our marriage. There are video recordings. His sister tried to run me over. He used to beat me. I put a restraining order on him.
And let's just clip that out of context. Because now Ali Dawah sounds like he's saying that he was married to Salman. I mean, if you're going to take things out of context, you can make people say whatever you want them to say.
And you still haven't apologized. So here's a question. Will you accept the Islamic punishment for false slander about zina? I mean, after all, you are Ali Dawah, or do Islamic principles not apply to you?
But little did you know that golden bullet was a bullet in your head. Salman needed a golden bullet. And that golden bullet would have come out by sacrificing Mohammed Taroneh.
You call this my golden bullet?
What's a golden bullet, Mary?
I think he means a silver bullet.
I think that he knew the expression silver bullet and he tried to upgrade it and make it even better.
I think so.
And I did do an internet search just in case it was some British idiom.
It's fine.
I wasn't. Nope. Ali Dawah is the only person who's ever said golden bullet to mean a super silver bullet.
No, Ali, it's your golden noose. You tried to use Sheikh Taraneh's voice to defend hijab, but then when the truth came out via his testimonies, you turned against him and turned against the truth. The real golden bullet is coming soon, Habibi. But until then, let's recap a few points. You used a Photoshop text to mislead the Ummah, but when the lie was exposed and forensically proven, all while making you look like a fool, you remained silent and in the shadows. Brother Ali, you must think most people are stupid. Stop insulting our intelligence. I don't know how you presume to show evidence after the last screenshots you posted were outed as doctored and you have nothing to say about it. You are too close to the situation to be of any tangible benefit.
19 upvotes on this post again. And these are videos on Ali's channel. This is the most friendly audience possible. And they still are like, this is crap.
When Hijab used an AI-generated deepfake voice trying to fabricate a confession in an effort to frame the sister, one that was forensically proven to be generated using 11 labs, you remained silent and in the shadows. You people generated a fake screenshot of Aisha and fake voice of Aisha using AI. When we put that Aisha voice in software, it says 95% AI generated. You attack others for sharing recordings while doing the same yourself. You broadcasted recordings of Sister Aisha taken secretly, illegal by UK laws and without her knowledge or permission. Also, you keep whining, no evidence, while Taraneh himself said Hijab apologized to the sister after a real marriage and divorce, and that Hijab even sent a screenshot of the apology to Taraneh, and even testified that he spoke to one of the witnesses who confirmed that the marriage took place. I messaged Sheikh Taraneh directly saying I saw Salman's video and I believed him. He said Jazakallah and to keep him in my du'as. He didn't deny anything at all. We heard from the audio Sheikh Taraneh himself said he was blackmailed, yet Ali's trying to put this on Salman. Ali has nothing else to say than repeat the same slander and in the most childish way. This video has proved nothing other than deflection yet again. Your contradictions are endless. Your strategy is obvious. Diversion, deflection, theatrics. You and Hijab are not defenders of Islam. You are defenders of yourselves. And the more you talk, the more the truth continues to be revealed. You keep digging yourselves into a deeper and deeper hole.
Getting in a deep, deep hole. No double entendre. Super chat here.
Early, and this is indeed a sign, yet most of them are not believers. Give alone to Allah, give alone to Allah. Ride the wings of Gabriel, give alone to Allah.
5 gifted reason to answer membership from Jack Ray. Thank you very much for that. And remember to ride the wings of Gabriel, or else you'll be 2 hours late, like Futris here. Shame on you for not taking the Gabriel taxi and getting here 2 hours earlier. Mary says to like the stream. Good reminder there. Make sure that you like this stream. Your likes help spread it to a broader audience. As you see, we do get Muslims to come into these, so hopefully it'll help get this information out to Muslims, like our friend here in the chat who probably was not aware of all the details until now. And then Geometry Cube said to Mary, Hatun Mary and Daughter of Christ, Colin show would go insane. And Mary said that happened. So if you didn't catch that, check
well, we
it
were
out.
on one stream. We didn't have a call-in show then.
Yeah, it wasn't a call-in.
David wants us to have an actual call-in show with El of El Iso Elohim as well.
Absolutely. Get all the girls together and destroy Islam, because as Geometry Cube says here, right, you're supposed to be half brain, which does actually matter to Muslims, right? It's kind of a joke to us, but it does actually matter to Muslims, because it's twice as embarrassing when a woman corrects them on Islam, makes them not just say there's a problem with me, right? There's a problem with my understanding of Islam, but there's also a problem with Muhammad's teaching about women. I can clearly see that Mary or Hatun or Daughter of Christ or El is intelligent, seem to be more intelligent than me, certainly more intelligent than Ali Dawah, although I think the cat here is probably also more intelligent than Ali Dawah, so that's not saying very much, but does cause additional doubt above and beyond a man saying the same things. So I endorse that fully. Hijab in hiding. I thought about saying hijab in hijab, but I mean, one, it's not really hiding, and two, people wouldn't really get it. But he's wearing it. He's definitely wearing a veil, hijab in face veil, I think we could say.
He's yapped on and on about Elon Musk. He's attacked Alex Jones. He's called out the government of India. He's even ridiculed and challenged many du'at. Muhammad Hijab has no issue pounding his chest and roaring like a lion. But when it comes to the sister he secretly married, used, and discarded, when it comes to Sheikh Torana, the very man he blackmailed, when it comes to the mountain of evidence that now surrounds him, instead of being a real man and accepting his mistakes, he has squirmed away like a little mouse.
It's finished, bro. I know you're burning right now. I know you can't take it. It's not within you. Yeah, you cannot accept criticism. Oh, it's hurting. Ooh, it's probably.
Great find there. I think you're going to find that on the soundboard here. Great clip. A little mouse. I prefer the term boy, a child for hijab, but mouse also works. Mouse also works. Paper tiger is another way of putting it. If you're familiar with that expression, that is definitely Muhammad hijab.
He remains utterly silent. No videos, no live streams, no denials, no oaths. Instead, he hides behind Ali Dawa, sending out his foot soldier while he stays hidden in the shadows. The public has noticed. I just want to know why Big Man Hijab is hiding behind Ali Dawa. Where's his confidence and ferocity now?
He's 6'6". He's too big to hide behind Ali Dawah. What are you talking about? That'll be the next video Ali Dawah puts out. People are saying Muhammad Hijab is hiding behind me, but he is 6'6". What are you talking about? He is too tall to hide behind me. These lies and slander are getting out of control. Even Allah can't stand up to his height.
The accusation was that Muhammad Hijab blackmailed him. Why is he not speaking for himself? He can easily come out and apologize for everything and move on, but he's allowing this to fester. It is embarrassing. Because Muhammad Hijab is guilty, so he gets his minions like Ali, who makes thousands to do his bidding.
Now, okay, brace yourself, everyone. Brace yourself, everyone. We're now getting to the title of the video here. Chapter of the video is called Shadows of the Same Secret. I'm sure that we were all shocked to find out that Ali Dawah had engaged in polygamy, given that Muhammad Hijab said every name you can think of on the Dawah seed has engaged in polygamy. But
Yep.
but the exact timing is definitely very, very, very interesting.
Except Zakir Naik.
Except Zakir Naik. Zakir Naik is exempt. Maybe he's a decent person. Who knows? I mean, he's definitely playing a game, but maybe he's a decent person in his personal morality. None of the other Dawa guys are, though, according to Hijab.
You know, Ali, you've been obsessed with defending Muhammad Hijab with every breath and every step. That got me wondering, but I'd rather not jump to assumptions. And like you stated,
but if only they just assume the best and ask questions rather than jump into accusations.
So I'd like to ask you some very direct questions.
This is killer here. Direct questions, guys.
Instead of jumping into accusations. Have you yourself ever had a secret nikah, a nikah without your first wife knowing? Did you ever enter into a secret marriage with, I don't know, possibly one of the sisters who made multiple appearances on the Bitter Truth show? Could this secret nikah behind your wife's back possibly have happened while you were in Mecca, possibly for the purpose of performing Umrah? Could there be a super random chance that it could have happened in October of 2023, just months after Muhammad Hijab's secret marriage and divorce with Sister Aisha? And did you ever give the secret wife a talaq, a divorce, shortly after your first wife found out? Once again, just for clarification, I'm just asking questions instead of casting accusations, because you did say,
ask questions rather than jump into accusations.
We'll be paid.
He doesn't, Salman doesn't say this, but in that first video, Ali Dawah repeatedly says, I'm just putting it out there. I'm just asking questions, as he's making blatant accusations about Salman. So I think this is so epic. This is such a perfect response. And, you know, those questions were a tad bit specific there, just a tad bit specific. Obviously, there's going to be more evidence behind it, but we know the gist here, right? Ali Dawah had a secret second wife. It was one of the women who he works with on a regular basis. It was in Mecca while he was on Hajj. And then his first wife found out about it and he divorced her. Huh. Interesting. And the exact month was October 2023, where I believe that the divorce or the marriage and divorce, because they happened basically the same time, was like spring or summer of 2023.
And I want to point out something. This whole marriage in order to travel is nothing more than prostituting women to obey the letter of Sharia law. Women who want to leave, who want to travel, who do not have a mahram of the right type, they have to be a mahram due to blood relationship or being directly married to the person. It can't be a mahram who would not be your mahram if you got divorced. If you do not have one, you cannot travel. So if you want to go from one town to the next, Allah approves of you hooking up with a man, being banged by him to go to another town, then him divorcing you. This is in the plan of Allah. Allah is cool with paying for travel with sex. This is part of Sharia. So travel prostitution is absolutely a normal part of Islam and is a common way that women who otherwise can't travel. They pay for their travel to get their mahram with sex. And they pretend that this is a modest religion, that they're about, protecting women's modesty by forcibly prostituting women to allow them to leave their homes so that they can leave their towns. They need to give their bodies to a man, and that somehow is supposed to preserve their decency or chastity. Is so grotesque.
And that's literally what mishar means, right? Traveler's wife. Now, it's envisioned that it's a wife taken in the town you're traveling to, but that's literally what it means, is traveler's wife. This is in the provision of Allah for another reason, then, that when the man does travel and he's feeling horny, he doesn't have to, have some self-control or commit zina. He can just get married for a couple days. And that's what Allah wants, right? Allah makes it easy for men to do this kind of behavior. Beautiful religion. That's totally not about sex. Remember, we had the Muslim here earlier telling us that Christianity is all about sex. Pure projection. He obviously has no idea what Christianity is about. I basically never heard, I mean, of course it does come up occasionally, as well it should, but basically never hear discussions of sex in church, because that's not the main focus of the religion, unlike Islam, which literally like half of the revelations of Allah are to satisfy the sexual desires of Muhammad, satisfy the sexual desires of Muhammad's men. Weird.
Patiently waiting for your responses, not vague and wild goose chases. Until then, all I can say is, birds of a feather flock together. Unlike you, Ali, I'm not in the business of sacrificing and selling my religion for money. I don't compromise my values, ethics, or Islam just to monetize attention. But you proudly joke about having a PhD in clickbait. Your videos wrapped in deception, your thumbnails misleading, your headlines often so dishonest that a disclaimer is required mid-video that it's not clickbait.
I don't know how the title is mid-video, but regardless of that, let's just make sure that he's not misrepresenting Ali Dawah.
I'm the king of clickbait.
All right. Just wanted to clarify.
Because deception is now your default. You claim to defend Islam, but what you really do is exploit it. Because he wants to deceive people by turning the story to his needs. Let's call it what it is. You are profiting off of ads. Your loyalty is to your views, and your fear is losing your YouTube money. You are trading honesty for monetization. You engage in clickbait and tabloid-worthy sensationalism out of your desperation for clicks. That's not dawah. That's selling your deen to chase the dunya.
And that is completely accurate. I think that Ali is genuine in many things, right? I think he's probably genuine in his belief in Islam. I think he's genuine in that he is actually deceived and actually believes the things that Hijab tells him. But it's one thing he's definitely not genuine in, and it's his YouTube strategy. He's constantly engaging in deception, clickbait, if you will, to get views. He's constantly putting up misleading titles, sensationalizing non-stories into being a big deal to get views. He is 100% chasing the dunya, chasing this world, chasing worldly pleasures, money, fame, fortune. That is Ali Dawah. There is nothing I would dispute about that statement whatsoever. So ironically, he says you've made your dunya. Well, he's made his dunya YouTube, clicks, ad revenue. He's chased the dunya very much, as Muslims would say.
Oh, that's right. Let's address your favorite phrase. He made his whole dunya dunya.
You are so obsessed with your ex, you've made your whole dunya dunya. Yes, he's made his whole world dunya. This man, we're going to come to now. Somebody who is so obsessed over dunya that he's made dunya his whole dunya. And I've said this before. He's obsessed with her. Yes, his whole dunya has become his ex-wife dunya. Who is somebody who is obsessively obsessed. He's made his whole dunya his ex-wife dunya. Salman, because of your desperation, because of your obsession with dunya and whatever she put you through, yes, you made your whole dunya dunya. Your obsession with dunya, making dunya your whole dunya.
And it doesn't stop there. Even in your messages to me, you keep parroting the same thing like a broken record. I told you, you've made your whole dunya dunya. Ali, Wallahi, this is utterly embarrassing. You've repeated it so many times, I'm half convinced you've got it stitched onto your pillowcase. Do you recite it at night, whisper it in the mirror, frame it over your bed? Because from the outside looking in, the only person obsessed with mentioning dunya is you. You've turned a woman you've never met into a punchline. But why? Because you can't answer the actual allegations. So instead, you mock, you smear, and you repeat your slogan like it's your motivational workout music that keeps you going. And what's even more pathetic, you've become Hijab's human shield. You've turned into his guard dog. Your obsession isn't with dunya, it's with hijab. You've become so obsessed with defending hijab that you've become blinded by the hijab. You've launched attacks on everyone, Sister Aisha, myself, Sheikh Torana, everyone except the man actually guilty of the accusations, Muhammad Hijab.
Do you think that it would be fair to say that Ali Dawah is... Hey, that didn't play. That one's broken. I'll have to fix it. He says obsessively obsessed. That's what I was trying to play. That Ali Dawah is obsessively obsessed with Muhammad Hijab.
I think Ali Dawah is, yeah, he is definitely obsessively obsessed with this whole situation because he's been told to be. He will do anything that Muhammad Hijab tells him to.
Mm-hmm. Alexander says, one thing I've noticed is that Muslims are hyper obsessed with money and status, sex too, obviously. It's crazy how materialistic the religion makes them. And that's very true. But that's by design, right? This isn't an accident. This is by design. Muhammad the Prophet, if you want to call him that, spent a decade trying to convince people of the beauty of Islam and that they should worship Allah. And basically no one was interested. And then he started to promise material wealth and sex as well. And suddenly people were interested. He appealed to the carnal desires of men and found that men were willing to follow him to have those desires fulfilled. And thus it became the primary focus of the religion, fulfilling the carnal desires of men. Women be damned, don't care about them. They're not able to fight and destroy cities and raid villages and whatnot. Whatever men want, men get in this religion because that's how Muhammad got his followers.
Ali, this is no longer defense. It's a full-blown obsession, an emotional fixation dressed up as religious commentary. You're not confronting the truth. You're desperately dodging it, and everyone watching can see it. Notice Ali want to talk about everything but the marriage. That's the point of this whole back and forth. Did it happen or not? I think most people realize it happened, and you and Hijab twist and lie.
Again, these are comments on Ali's channel. This is the most friendly audience possible. And many, many, many of the comments are against him.
So number one, I challenged Salman to come on a phone call with me that I would take Allah's curse upon me if I am lying about what I'm saying about any of this stuff.
Challenge accepted. I'm glad that you're willing to do a Mubahala now, invoking the curse of Allah if you're lying, even though it's just another contradiction of yourself where you try to provide an escape route for hijab, where you stated that Mubahala in the Quran is directed towards the Christians.
There seems to be a psychological issue. There has to be. Is asking Muhammad Hijab, a 6'6" guy, to come and do Mubahala with her. Now, when you do Mubahala, this is something that is directed to the Christians.
This is my favorite quote.
Absolutely pathetic.
His element's too nice to mock him, but the 6'6", asking Muhammad Hijab, a 6'6" guy, to come and do Mubahala.
He is too tall to do Mubahala. He will crush you with his Mubahala because he's very tall and chubby, and he will just smush you. He could have intercourse with you, but the Mubahala will destroy you.
But the substance here, of course, is that Ali Dawah, in that video, said that anyone who believes he's lying should challenge him to Mubahala. And then he specifically says Salman by name. Salman accepted that challenge. Is Ali Dawah going to actually come out and do it? Yeah, my money's on no, but that should be utterly embarrassing, right? That should be utterly embarrassing to promise to do something, have the challenge accepted, and then you refuse to follow through. We know, I can guarantee Ali Dawah will see this video. I can guarantee people in his audience will tell him that the challenge has been accepted. But I suspect he's just going to ignore it, which should be utterly embarrassing and should undermine him with a Muslim audience. We'll see if that actually happens, but it should. It absolutely should.
Desperately trying to find a way out for your buddy Muhammad Hijab after he was challenged by Sister Aisha and was too cowardly to be a man and defend himself. But you know what? I challenge both you, Ali Dawah, and you, Muhammad Hijab, to a live YouTube stream on our channel, which is not monetized. Let's sit down with myself and Sister Aisha. Let's put everything on the table. Every claim, every accusation, every voice note, every lie. No edits, no theatrics. Just the truth in front of the entire ummah. You both claim to represent Dawa.
That's actually a better offer, right? The Mubahala, means something to Muslims, but that's actually a better offer, right? Let's do a live stream. You can expose me. I can expose you. We'll see who comes out in the end. We'll see who has the truth on their side. Muhammad Hijab, Ali Dawah, Salman, Aisha, one live stream. Let's get this all aired out. I guarantee there is a 0% chance that Ali Dawah or Muhammad Hijab will accept that offer. Why? Because they know that they don't have truth on their side, that they would be utterly exposed, that it would bring so much more attention to this. Hijab in Ali Dawah's best strategy is to hide and say nothing, because that way at least some people won't find out about it. Any attempt at defense just brings more attention to it, and you got zero legitimate defense. So we'll see. We'll see. Imam Shazi, I assume this is directed towards you, Mary, but he says, now you damage your credibility, which is very ironic, since what we're talking about is Ali Dawah destroying his own credibility here. Maybe you should pay attention, Imam.
Oh no, he's saying that I destroyed my credibility because I said that Muhammad introduced muta marriage. And he did. He absolutely did. He introduced muta marriage. He's the first one to call prostitution marriage. He invented the idea. He practiced it. Even Sunnis agree that Muhammad was telling his men, pay for sex and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you'd
so
think that
I'm not sure an imam would not be this ignorant of his own past. Yeah,
I doubt he's actually an imam. I don't think an actual imam would put their name as Imam Shirazi, but let's pretend he is an actual imam. So as an actual imam, shouldn't you be calling out Ali Dawah and Muhammad Hijab's cowardice and their abuse of Allah?
Oh no, he's good with that. He's good with the secret marriages. He's cool with the abuse of women. He's fine with using prostitution for women to travel. He's good with all of that.
Mm-hmm. But he should at least, I mean, legitimately, Islamically speaking, he should at least care about the embarrassment that Hijab and Ali Dawah are bringing on the Ummah.
They're actually, the one thing that they have clearly done that's not allowed is blackmail. So they should not do that.
Mm-hmm. And I would say also, regardless of how he approached it, as just putting it out there or whatever, Ali coming out with the accusations against Sheikh Tarani, I'd say also is definitely un-Islamic. Now, I wouldn't say that there's necessarily a moral problem with that, honestly, but Islamically, he should not be exposing that. He shouldn't be bringing that to public discussion when it's not previously been in the public eye. So he's quite in the wrong there as well, at least Islamically. So interesting that our friend here, he loves that Allah made the religion very easy for him, and he can bang whoever he wants whenever he wants, as long as he says some magic words, and then he can use her, discard her, throw her to the trash, put her in the bin, as Ali Dawah would say. And that's perfectly fine. I acknowledge that he's correct. That is what Islam teaches. But there is more at play here. There is more at play. Shame that you're just so interested in satisfying your own penis's desires that you're willing to overlook the disgusting behavior above and beyond the disgusting behavior that your prophet allows.
Then don't run away from the Dawah of truth. If you fear Allah as you claim, then meet us live and let the truth speak for itself. The invitation is open. We'll all be waiting for your response. In the meantime, just know there is more to come. And I sure do hope you've spent your nights and weekends trying to carefully craft an elaborate explanation for what we're about to present. Because it sure ain't looking good. Allahumma musta'an.
Definitely not looking so good for you, Ali Dawah. Like I said at the introduction, saying it's over is an internet meme, but sometimes it's really over. And who knows, maybe Ali Dawah's audience won't care. Certainly, I don't think that people like massively unsubscribe. Normally, people just stop watching something rather than going through the effort to unsubscribe. But I find it hard to believe, even with my extremely low view of Muslims and Islam, that people will accept this from Ali Dawah, because he has nothing to offer objectively. He is useless and worthless to Islam. They should just throw him under the bus as quickly as possible. That would be the best possible move for them. We don't call him the greatest Christian apologist for no reason, right? It would be very sad to lose Ali Dawah as such an asset for our own objectives, but that's what the Muslim community should do. They should throw him under the bus, cancel him, end his career, because he brings nothing and he's a constant source of embarrassment, and he's crossed what should be some red lines. You know, Yasser Qadi says that the Western scholars don't have red lines, but we Muslims, we do have these red lines that we refuse to push past. Well, Ali Dawah has pushed past those red lines, and he should be canceled. He should be thrown under the bus. He should be stabbed in the back as well, to use Ali Dawah's doubleism there. Your thoughts, Mary?
Yeah, this is just, I mean, the example here of him having this wife to travel with, the example of this travel prostitution. And we talked about before that miss your marriage, that some women, it's liberating because women can sell their bodies to men so that they can go to another country. Mm-hmm. Like, it's such a disgusting, perverted, revolting religion. It is so unspeakably vile, defiled, degenerate, debased. It turns men into rutting, disgusting beasts. Our example, Imam Shirazi here, is, yes, the concept of prostitution is that a woman sells her body for money. That is what muta is.
Oh, hold on. Forget about muta. We're talking about Ali Dawah here. So a woman, according to these accusations, but we're speaking in hypotheticals here. Hypothetically, a woman sold her body to Ali Dawah in exchange for a trip to Mecca.
Yeah.
You just told me that's prostitution. Yep. You just told me that Ali Dawah engaged in prostitution.
So miss your marriage for the purpose of
halal.
Travel is prostitution.
It is
she
halal.
Prostituted herself to go on Hajj.
Mm-hmm.
You become a whore. Your women are whores. You whore your daughter when you sell her to a man with your mahr. That is what all Muslim women are turned into. They're turned into property, into whores. Islamic marriage is fancy prostitution. It is. That's why it's so degrading. That's why it's so vile and debasing. That's why the entire attitude toward men and women is disgusting. That's why when Muslim men come into another country, the rape rates go up enormously. Why? Because they come with debased, defiled minds. Because Islam is a debasing, defiling religion that tells men that their lusts deserve to be satisfied and will be satisfied one way or another. not that men should exercise self-control, not that men should be decent. It has not entered your mind for a second that men should be decent, upright, righteous, that they should take accountability for their actions and thoughts, that they should not entertain their lusts, they should not defile themselves because they have an urge. That did not enter your mind. Why? Because you are from a defiled, debased, revolting religion. For you, women must be humiliated. They must be whored out. It is the religion of whores and the religion of pimps. Every father in Islam is a pimp. Every woman is a whore. And every husband is a John. That is what the religion is. It turns what should be the most sacred relationship that humans can have into the sating of animal lusts that men can't possibly be expected to control. You must have the ability to have multiple wives, because otherwise men will go out and have sex with women on the street. Yes, you will. You will do that. Why will you do that? Because you are debased, because you are perverted, because your mind is dark. That is why you are that way. Yes, it is prostitution, but all Islamic marriage is prostitution. They got married so she could have a mahram. She paid him with sex. And then got mahr.
I want to hold on, Mary. I'll let you go on the rant in a second. But I do want to give him the credit here. He acknowledges what it is, but it's also halal. It's also allowed by Allah. So it's halal prostitution. All right, your rant.
Muta is halal prostitution. But even regular marriage is, because it is the purchase of a woman's sexual access with money. It is not the uniting of husband and wife to make a new unity. It is not the uniting of two to make a new one. There can be no one. If you have polygamy, it destroys the basis of the family structure. It destroys the relationship between husband and wife, between parent and child. On every level, it just destroys society itself. Your society is on fire. That's why every Islamic country is so miserable. Because it is based in depravity. It is based in the deepest depravity of a very backwards and depraved man. And as Geometry Cube says, Islam is the religion where men, not must, but are enabled, are given the ability to freely act like beasts rather than developing discipline. And that is exactly it. Like, there are very few pagan religions that have the absolutely revolting view of men that Islam has. The pagan Greeks did not have this view. The pagan Chinese did not have this view. Islam practically uniquely debases the relationship between men and women and distorts it and degrades it. It's horrific.
Absolutely. To this comment.
And this is crazy.
But what the Muslim would say, what the hijabs of the world at least would say is, no, Islam is the only religion that tells men to act like men. This is what men are. We're basically apes who want to grab things and have them. And that's why the Islam is so beautiful and amazing. It's because it's the only religion that acknowledges what men actually are. I do want to correct this statement here by Below Lazaro. He said 97% of Egyptian women have encountered sexual assault. That is not correct. Sexual assault would mean rape or at least something close to it. What they have experienced is sexual harassment.
Well, sexual assault assault, that would be battery. Sexual assault in a general sense includes other things too, like
But
If
but in
someone
any case,
mentions
the
it.
survey
But
that
yeah.
the specific number came from says 97% sexual harassment, and it's a lower number, but it's still like 85 or something assault, but it's not 97. So I just wanted to clarify that it's 97% say they've experienced sexual harassment, and a somewhat smaller number, but still shockingly large, say assault. Anyway, Nicodemus says that the writings of the traveler, i.e. Sharia law, promotes this degeneracy and then some. See, for example, N8, O10, O12. Absolutely. All right. I don't know what those specific sections are about, but absolutely everything that we've talked about is promoted by Islamic law, except for blackmail. Except for blackmail, that is where hijab clearly crossed the line, and it does encourage what I would consider degeneracy of covering up sins, of hiding sins. And so when Ali Dawah exposes Tarane for his own benefit, that also is clearly against Islamic law, although I would not actually call that degeneracy.
No, I don't think that one. I think that one's allowed because you're allowed to deceive people for their own good in Islam.
But I was referring to the, exposing the sin specifically, not the deception. So like, unless you're saying that no one would believe this, what he's doing is slander, right? He's slandering Tarane by reducing his reputation, whether true or false.
Oh, you mean Ali Dawah?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ali Dawah.
Yeah, Ali Dawah is committing Islamic slander. It doesn't matter that it's true. It's Islamic slander because he has no right. He is not acting on behalf of the women. The women have a right to bring up the complaint. He has no right to speak of it if they have not brought it up.
Mm-hmm. So Mick here says, have you seen the video of Ali Dawah being called out over his false company not paying taxes, ripping off the Muslims? I have not seen that. I will definitely look for it. If Mick is still here or anyone else knows the title of that video, that'll make it easier for me to find it. Please share that in the comments and I'll share it to the audience as well. But either way, I will definitely look for this. Definitely it sounds like something that needs to be talked about, exposed, however you want to put that. Logician Bone says, is he blocking people? Is that why he didn't answer about if it's okay for Muhammad to do what he did with Aisha at 9? For shame, if not. So it's highly possible that he didn't see your comment or chose not to use it to read it. I mean, lots of people are talking at him, so he might just not want to answer. He might not have seen it. YouTube could have blocked it. Many possibilities other than he had blocked you. On off-topic question here, Thaddeus, do you use the Ignatius Study Bible? I don't have a problem with looking at Ignatius or what any other church father read.
Oh no, it's not just about Ignatius. It's a study Bible that has a lot of fathers in it.
Okay, I was going to say I don't use that specific resource, but I do think it is very wise for Christians to study what people have said before them because it provides a check on your interpretation. Like if you're saying something about a passage that no one's ever said before, that's probably a pretty strong clue that you are misunderstanding the passage. But so I do encourage Christians to look at what people have said in the past, but I'm not familiar with that exact resource. What is that burqa lady doing? LOL. Destroying Islam, I believe, is the answer to that. Bruce also said to hit the like button. Good reminder there. If you haven't done so already, be sure to hit like. If you're not subscribed, make sure to subscribe to this channel because we have lots more content on this coming up. And if a mom chose to block people, I mean, that's within his right. People can block someone they don't want to listen to. Lots of people do it, so he can certainly do that if he so chooses. Talmudic Tunnels Construction says, I'd rather not see anything that hijab is exposing. Point taken. Point taken. Good question here from Geometry Cube. If Islam has been debunked, why do people still believe? Wishful thinking. Variety of reasons. Variety of reasons for sure. One would be simply ignorance. There's a reason why there are more apostates from Islam in the last 50 years than the rest of Islamic history combined. Information is spreading. People are learning the truth. And while it doesn't bring everyone out of Islam, it does bring some people out. So that's one reason. Another is, go ahead.
Yeah, my big one would be that it makes you feel self-righteous. While you are vile, depraved, do the most revolting things imaginable, you can consider yourself holy. That's why men walk around the Kaaba groping women every chance they get. Grab a breast, put their hands between a woman's thighs, grab her butt, try to grab her the front of her private area. While they are doing that, they believe their sins are being removed. They think that they are made righteous while they are being depraved.
Mm-hmm.
It enables depravity. It empowers depravity. It gives men the feeling that they have earned all of this righteousness while they are doing horrible things.
Absolutely.
And that is why many men believe. Women believe because they're told that these men who are so depraved, so disgusting, so revolting, who will attack them in the streets if they don't cover up enough, that these are the best of men in the world. And you need to be careful because all these other men will do even worse to you, which is a filthy, filthy lie by filthy, filthy men.
Absolutely. So Mary kind of alluded to it, but let me make it explicit here. There is also a very strong cultural and emotional tie to Islam for people who grow in it, right? All your family believe in this. You have a very strong psychological belief that you are the best of people because you are a Muslim and anyone else is the worst of people. So by leaving Islam, you're not just saying Islam is false, you're also saying I'm a bad person. And while you can intellectually deny that, it will affect you psychologically, even if you intellectually deny it, because it's so ingrained, it's such a part of your identity that it becomes extremely difficult to leave. So there's a lot of powerful forces at work here. It's not just oh, people are stupid or something along those lines. As Mary said, some people intentionally like what Islam teaches because it allows them to embrace their depravity. I mean, that's why Muhammad's original followers entered into Islam. So many, many possibilities. So Imam, what was your name exactly? I haven't actually seen him in a while. Shirazi. Imam Shirazi, if you're still here, I want you to answer the question about Aisha. Not this Aisha, Muhammad, the Prophet's Aisha. And about her being 9 years old. Why do you think that this is morally acceptable? Or do you think that this is morally acceptable? I guess I shouldn't make assumptions. You might say it's not. You might say, well, if you do some fancy math and ignore the direct statements of Aisha, then you can make her whatever age you want to make her. You could be one of those people. I don't know what you believe. So let me know. Let me know what you believe about Aisha. Super chat from Songs of Relief.
Go on to us, Ali. Operation Cover Up. Stop.
Perfect. I imagine this was actually something that the ape apologist, the real one, said. Thank you very much for that donation. Songs of Relief there. John Scott pointed out earlier, according to Islamic belief, all Muslims go to hell. So when I was telling whoever that was that Tommy, I think, that he was going to hell, I wasn't telling him anything he didn't already know. Now, in fairness, it is exactly what the Quran says. It's the only reasonable interpretation of what the Quran says, but it is a minority opinion. Most Muslims interpret the verse as a bridge crossing over hell, even though it says you enter into hell and you're left there, or unless Allah rescues you out, which means if it's a bridge, then you're left on the bridge and you never actually go to hell. I mean, it
What's
makes no sense,
fun?
but
What's
that is
fun
the
is that
most common
bridge.
interpretation.
Yeah, that bridge comes from which religion? The Zoroastrian religion.
Uh-huh.
It's just stolen. It's a Zoroastrian bridge shoved into Islamic theology that is somehow the true religion of Abraham, because Abraham taught Zoroastrian concepts of a bridge over hell.
Jack Ray with a good summary. Step 1, powerful men get multiple wives. A summary of the Islamic view of marriage, or the Islamic purpose of marriage. Step 2, unmarried men get told tales of sex in heaven. Step 3, unmarried men are encouraged to go get sex in heaven with self-ending via homicide. Indeed. Hey, it's stacked up very nicely. You see, this is why Allah has ordained polygamy, so that the rich men can have many wives and the poor men have nothing to do but wage jihad, because they're still men and they want to have, they need to wage jihad in order to get their virgins in paradise. This is Islam, and I think that that is very accurate. Whether, you know, Muhammad/Allah had all this in mind when they were dreaming it up, I don't know, but it worked out perfectly, whether it was planned or not. Another off-topic question from Good Emperor: what happened to that Sharia city building project? Nothing official, no official update. It's on hold at this time. We'll eventually see whether it moves forward, but my guess is that it will just quietly disappear and no one will really ever find out anything about it.
Yeah, I think it's quietly going to die. There'll be some stuff buried in legal documents as it dissolves, because they were in no way prepared to even build what they claimed that they were going to build. They had no ability to do this whatsoever.
Ali and Hijab sitting under a tree. Kissing. Super chat from Jack Ray.
The abridged Quran.
Yeah, you know, we always talk about the Quran, but we have to remember that it is the abridged Quran. Abridged by goats, abridged by memory lapses, abridged by sending the only people who had it memorized into battle, thinking they couldn't possibly be killed, since Allah promised to protect the Quran. Abridged in many ways. Of course, parts that are there are abrogated as well. Why Allah didn't just ensure that the parts that he didn't want remembered were the parts that were forgotten, I don't know, but there's parts there that people remember that they're not supposed to because they're abrogated. Sometimes the meaning is abrogated, but not the words, what I was just referring to. Sometimes the words are abrogated, but not the meaning. So some of the disappeared verses are still authoritative and still have authority. Sometimes hadith abrogate Quran. Yes, sometimes the words of Muhammad abrogate the words of Allah. You know, perfectly coherent system. Clearly the work of an all-wise God to set things up in this way. I don't know why you would be super chatting the abridged Quran. That's so beautiful. You're just going to convert people to Islam with this amazing doctrine of abrogation.
Which, once again, is evidence that this was made up as you went along and was not from any kind of organized intelligence that had the ability to see the whole thing. There's no concept of unity in the Quran. There's no concept of organization. It's not even coherent in its final form, which is why you need the Sunnah, which shows that this authentically came from a depraved pagan running around in the desert, being squeezed by demons and thinking he's hearing from God.
I'm not 100% sure. This is probably not really true, but I get the point behind it for sure. Alexander says, all fake religions make you out to be the best of people. Only Christianity tells you that you're sinful and fallen, but God loves you still. Certainly there's a strong emphasis in a lot of false religions of self-pride and self-worth and secular culture,
Well,
coincidentally speaking, but I'm not sure every religion would teach.
Every religion says that you can climb to heaven.
Yes, that is
Mount
certainly
heaven. Let me see. Every other one is the Tower of Babel. Every other religion really is the religion of the Tower of Babel.
Yes, certainly every religion teaches you to earn your own salvation other than Christianity. I agree with that statement, but they don't necessarily teach you're the best of people. For example, reincarnation teaches that if you have a shitty life, it's because you're a bad person and you deserve it, right? So that's not really teaching you the best of all people.
But you will.
But you can improve, right? You can.
You will reach heaven on your own. You know, come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches into the heavens, that we may make a name for ourselves. So you can reach the tower that reaches to the heavens. You can climb the mountain. You can reach it. That is within your power. And there are those who are farther up the mountain than others, and that is their ability, that you have done this. You have seized control. And it's the religion, the Tower of Babel. It's the religion of Satan himself.
And Talmudic Tunnels Construction says people actually convert to this religion, meaning Islam. Yes, but how many stay? Not very many. Most people are tricked. Most people who convert are tricked, and most people who stay,
they stay because they got married and they're.
But exactly. That's what I was going to say.
They don't want to be thrown out.
They stay because they're married, and you know they just have kind of a very generic opinion of religion that all religions are kind of the same anyway. So what's the big deal? Type attitude. Very, 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 very few people convert and stay in Islam because they believe it's the truth. Some people convert because they believe it's the truth, because they've been lied to, they've been deceived, and then they eventually find out it's not, and they leave. The vast majority of people who convert for reasons other than marriage leave. And some who convert for marriage also leave.
Yes, a lot of them leave. But it's a religion of Satan. You said in your heart, I will ascend to heaven. Above the stars of God, I will set my throne on high. I will sit on the Mount of Assembly in the far reaches of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will make myself like the Most High. Those are the messages of Islam and every other false religion. That you are given these pathways to righteousness, that through your cleverness and intelligence and whatever else you can seize upon, so that you deserve what is promised to you.
So Rory says, taking pride in the work you achieved a sin. So pride as in English has a broader semantic range. Let me just clearly define this, the difference between what's sinful and not, without deciding whether something is pride or not. So what is not sinful, what's humility, is a proper acknowledgement of who you are and of what it took to achieve whatever you achieved. A sinful attitude is, I'm so great, I did this because of my own greatness.
I mean, you can take satisfaction.
So you can take pride, you can say, I did great work. This was an amazing project. But to say, because I'm inherently good, or something along those lines, is where it crosses the line, right? So to say, I did great work. I'm very proud of this YouTube video I produced. That's fine. But then to say, and this reflects my value as a person, right? Or something along those lines.
Well, even with something like sports, for instance, there are excellent athletes who are very coachable, and they are the ones who are not proud. Proud athletes are not coachable. They can have a realistic view. Say you're a pro basketball player. You should have a realistic view that you're one of the best basketball players currently in the world, with however many few hundred that there might be in all of pro basketball. Like that, that's a fact. But then you take feedback and you take training and you take alterations and you do these things. That's all modesty with excellence.
Yes.
Rather than pridefulness, where you're insulted whenever someone tells you to do something, that you're headstrong, you demand, you want to be the star all the time. If the plan is that the team needs to hand the ball to so-and-so at this time, or this is our strategy currently, or whatever else, you're a team player. Those who are very proud do not make good team players. Not that you have to work in a group, but like in the context of this, that's important to, and that's the difference between someone who's modest and not. There was a recent kerfuffle whenever somebody or other who showed a decent amount of talent, who was the son of another pro player. There was this huge kerfuffle because he was not chosen around the first pick. The second round, I think he was like the third. He was some lower down round, and people were like, "Oh, this is racism for some reason." I have no idea how it's racism.
Even though the majority of
because the majority are black, but somehow this is racism. But really, it's because he is proud, uncoachable. He's a terrible team player, and despite his his actual real talents, they're not sure whether or not he'll be an asset on their team because he is proud.
Yeah, so when I was in high school, my religious education teacher said that, this will date it, but you fill in a contemporary athlete if you prefer, said that Michael Jordan could say he's the best basketball player in the world, and it wouldn't, and he'd still be humble, right? Because it was an accurate statement. It wasn't an overinflation of who he was. It's the attitude behind it, not the statement itself. All right, let's take the last super chat here from Jack Ray.
Is the bridge too far of Islam?
It referring to the bridge over hell, which I forget the exact name of, but you know what I'm talking about. Bridge too far for Islam. Thank you very much for that. And then last comment, unless something else comes up, because I often say last and it's not. Blow Lazaro says Muhammad Hijab is a coward. I agree completely. And the same applies to other people like him. You know, these people are like, oh, big, strong man, I brave. But in fact, they are a coward, which takes actual bravery. Treating a woman who you can physically dominate as a piece of property, or treating her with respect, which is being brave. Fulfilling every carnal sexual desire you have, or exhibiting restraint. People like Muhammad Hijabs are absolute cowards. They are boys. They are children pretending to be men. A real man doesn't look at women and be like, "Ooh, I want that. I will have that." A real man understands that his role in creation is, in a sense, protector, right? I'm using that intentionally because that's the Quran's word. It is protector of women, but actual protector, right? Protector of women's decency, protector of women's rights, protective of a loving relationship between a man and a woman. And none of that is in Islam, right? There are Muslims who do that, certainly, but they do it in spite of their religion, not because of their religion. And thus, people like Hijab are cowardly, and this exhibits itself in other ways. In the case of Muhammad Hijab, it exhibits itself in his utter fear of his wife. He is terrified of his wife because, in his words, in this country, i.e. in the United Kingdom, someone will end up in jail if they were to exercise their Islamic rights. Implication: to beat a woman into submission. That is cowardly. That is pathetic. That is a complete and total loser. That is who Muhammad Hijab is. And look for a video proving that point coming up soon. I have found some clips where Muhammad Hijab describes a, hypothetical, which is really how he feels about his own relationship and his own wife. So look for a video coming up on that soon. I imagine that Behind Veils will drop a new video within a few days based on their release schedule the last time they were releasing videos. Clearly, there's another video coming after the one that we just watched. Imagine that'll be out in a few days. We'll talk about that when it comes out. Recorded some content which I won't be releasing immediately for strategic reasons. That'll be out soon though. We'll be back with Mary probably on Friday. Topic subject to change depending on what comes up, but what might we talk about, Mary?
We might talk about Saif, who spells his name Saif, and his brilliant arguments for the Islamic dilemma. Because he's responded to you, I think it would be appropriate to respond to him.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Fair enough. I apologize in advance for the headaches you'll get. Headaches from both his voice and his logic. So I apologize in advance for that. Appreciate it, Jack Ray. Until we meet again, be on the lookout for some possible scripted videos. Look for a stream coming up soon, one way or another. Lots of stuff in the works. I can't go into detail there. Until we meet again, we'll close out, as is tradition, in the words of the beloved pastor, Jake the Muslim metaphysician.
Pray this ceaselessly. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me.